Hello everyone! I'm back once again with another art stream, and this time, hopefully we will not get totally sidelined by my internet dying right in the middle of a stream, which was deeply upsetting. I am glad I got that fixed. It was a bit of a hassle. But yes, last stream we had, right in the middle of fun stuff that was happening, my internet died and would not come back, and I had to basically get new internet. And that's what I have now. We have new internet. It is fiber internets, which means it should be even faster, which means my upload speed, which should be a lot better for streaming. So we are doing that now. And we're just pretty much like picking up where I left off last time with the backgrounds on this Eldritchrune part, because I did not get very far on that last time. It sucks that we were having such a good time. And now, back to it. Hello, thank you for coming. I hope that you're having a good day so far. It is wet and rainy outside. We were going to have a picnic, but that got canceled because of the rain. But I can't complain because it is going to get really hot this summer. So let's have rain and cold while we can. Even in the June gloom, as they say. So yes, I hope you're doing well. So I saw it too. It was really good. Let's be sure that there is nobody who's afraid of spoilers before we talk about it. Can you do Luna from Cooking with Kindness? Yes, I can. Let's look her up. Let's see. I think yes, there was. Let's go back to the doodle page. See right here. I think we had a Chris with closed eyes there. The younger one, but I had to make sure that they weren't like looking like Frisk too much. Alright, where is DuckDuckGo? I'm trying to not use Google anymore because it's obnoxious. Cooking with Kindness, Luna. Let's see. I need to draw like a proper thing of Luna. We don't have that much art of them so far. We have sprites with them. Apparently I'm also getting up like an actual cookbook is the problem. As opposed to just the game. Okay. See if we can't do that. Yeah, there's not that many references. At least not on DuckDuckGo. Battle sprite. Maybe if I put in sprite, I'll get something up better. No, not really. Ugh, am I gonna have to use Google? Dang it, I don't like using Google. It's a mess now. Fine. I'm trying to use DuckDuckGo more often, but the problem is that it still does not quite have the same range that other stuff does. Actually, no, there's not much on Google either. A little bit more, but not much. Okay, that's at least a little bit better. Okay, Luna is a they them. I just wasn't paying attention. Okay. Alright, I gotta put this down. Okay, now that we found the reference. Hopefully we get this right. A little feather, antenna. At least from what I'm seeing on the Google search, that's a they, them. Got like their big mane. Extremely cute. I'll probably have to make this a little bit smaller. Got their forearms because they're moth. Give them a little whisk. Stir, whip, stir. No, that's wrong. And we got their little suit. All that stuff. I really did enjoy Cooking with Kindness. That was a very cute demo, and I want to see more. Yeah, I think that They are they, them, because I recall Moz using those pronouns. For fuzz. And I got these black pants. They're kind of like, not quite moth, not quite moth feet. They're kind of more like owl feet. But I guess also Luna is supposed to kind of be both a moth and an owl monster kind of put together. Feels a bit more moth than owl, but there's a little bit of it in there. And we have the wings behind them. Heart. Okay. We can shrink them down just a little bit. We got a couple of fan game characters here because we have Cough and K as well. Okay, that. There we go. It's Luna. They're so cute. Yeah, sometime I need to go and like do a bunch of arts from Cooking with Kindness because the characters were so cute. I want to draw Luna and Sunny and Moz and Baby Grillby. All those little guys. And thank you for the request. Actually, I'm going to make sure I save this stuff every time I do it, just in case. Okay, yes, I saved. I'm glad we saved it last time after the internet outage. I keep hitting the wrong hotkeys. These programs have different hotkeys for zooming in. And I always forget which is which. Thords, yes, Thords. We're going to be seeing this backdrop a lot because I'm using it both for this part, I think it's part 13 of Eldritchrune's ending, and then it's also going to show up in the current regular scene I'm working on with Azrael. So I am going to be reusing as many elements as I can for it. So I was like, oh shoot, this place has to show up twice. I'm gonna have to make some elements for it that I can reuse. Which is why we have the swords on one side and the books on the other, and there's like a big window at the end that I got all these elements. And also like a rug on the thing, so I'm like, here's all the smart objects I can use. Sword, sword, sword. Basically night stuff with the night. Another doodle request. Kid Noelle in an angel costume and Kid Chris in a devil costume. Okie dokie. That's doable. Everybody's in Halloween costumes. I'm pretty sure I've drawn this before, like, for another request. There she is. Should she get a little halo? We haven't really seen... Well, I guess no, the angel does have halos, at least according to, like, their little angel doll. Has a halo. Hello, thank you for coming. We're already getting hit with so many doodle requests. But it's okay, because we like this. Here's her little angel wings, which I'm sure will not come back later. I'm not going to keep bringing this imagery up for reasons. What those reasons are, though, don't know. And baby Chris. Aside from doodle requests, what are we drawing today? We're back with backgrounds that we were working on last time before my internet crapped out. So, backgrounds on Eldritchrune's ending. Although I'm also probably going to reuse a bunch of those for a scene I'm currently working on with Azrael in the light world. It's basically it's the knight's personal chambers. So a lot of backgrounds for that. I don't know how much of that I'll be able to do this week because I've still got to finish Anthrofractal and Patreon requests, so it's busy. Hello, thank you for coming. We just did a Luna. We added them to the doodle page. Should Chris get a little devil tail? Just to emphasize the point, since we can't use red. Yeah, here we go. They're going trick-or-treating! There we go. They're very cute. I'm actually making them probably a little bigger. Susie's a little bigger in her box. The Luna! I was just saying, man, I need to draw Cooking with Kindness characters more. I wanted to draw, like, a nice Luna and Maz and Sunny and everybody. Just, the time. I need more time for it. Yeah, I gotta do Patreon requests. I gotta do Anthrofractal, because I fell behind on that, because Thursday I went to see Digital Circus, and of course I've got work to do, although thankfully work is finally equalizing. It's getting back to normal. We're not being saddled with endless requests. It seems like I'm back on track for what's being expected for the boards here, at least according to my supervisor. So yay! I'm gonna have so much stuff to draw on this summer, though. Okay. I do want to do it, because I'm like, these characters are so cute, I want to draw them. I just gotta set aside the time for it. I don't know, maybe, like, next art stream, instead of doing something Eldritchrune related, we'll do a little Cooking with Kindness draw stream and work on that instead. Just to have some variety from not just Eldritchrune all the time. So, maybe it'll be fun to mix things up. Because I know I did that with Undertale Yellow as well. I did like a little color page of a bunch of Undertale Yellow characters, because I also enjoyed that. So I enjoyed Cooking with Kindness, so let's do some of those guys. I'm trying to think of, I'm like, what do I have to do next week? Is anything gonna happen in between, like, weekend stuff? And I don't think so. Just got usual work stuff. I know. I'm not expecting the game in June. If it gets shadow dropped, I'll be kind of annoyed. Because, Toby, I have a job. I have to, like, I'm in the middle of my job stuff right now. I have to, like, put in, like, vacation days ahead of time. I would have to use a sick day and be like, oh no, I'm sick. I can't come into work for the next, like, 2 days. Bye! Which, to be fair, my supervisor is like, okay, if you call in sick, I know why. like they're in on it too. So, not a shocking thing. But my hope is July or August. My secret hope is like mid-July, because that's my birthday. So I'm like, if we got a birthday release, I'd be like, yeah, birthday, woo! And that would be exciting. August would also be fine, because I'm guessing I'm going to have a work hiatus coming up starting late summer. So that will give me plenty of time both to just like throw myself into chapter 5 when it comes out. Probably will have to open commissions again, so I'm sure we'll have plenty of options for commissions. But yep. Birthday's August. Oh yeah, August release. There we go. Either way, either July or August, it'll be somebody's birthday. Oh no, food poisoning. That sucks. I'm sorry. Hate when that happens. Blah, blah, blah. Hope you feel better. Oh, another one. Silk Song trailer dropped on my birthday. Getting an encore would be fun. Scarlett and Alana. Oh, I don't know the Smiling Friends scene. I still haven't seen Smiling Friends. Okay. Let me see. Okay. We are so fucked. Okay. My goodness, we just jump right in and it's all requests all the time. Alright, I think I could put that here. Roll it doing to Alano. So wait, who is doing which one? I assume Scarlett is the one going, we are so fucked? Is that it? I want to make sure before I start. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. Hopefully. I'm just gonna do like from the top. Probably not going to be an exact copy, but, you know, close enough, hopefully. Okay. Oh, this girl. Okay, OC-ness. The nose, things like that. Trying to do it from the side. It's often difficult to do. I always tend to like not give people enough like skull when I draw, and I have to like adjust for it. I always need to give more people more like forehead and skull. That's my weakness. Thirsting for Maz and Luna. It is character design win. I think you got it. Like I said in my playthrough, I'm like, yes, please, make your big scary lone guy a shark. Do it for me. I love me a big scary. That's probably because sharks are my favorite animal. So I'm like, yay, a big scary shark boss guy, yay. So. Oh, good grief. Arm is way over here. Yeah, I know that it's not quite a mess with the Allen thing. They're just trying to get that right. Yeah, come on. Move over here. Well, now you can commit if you desire it. It's mostly like trying to replicate, you know, Alan's design as one eye. Sharks are pretty cool. Yeah, that is the problem, is like you kind of got to give them hands, because with the fins it looks a little silly. And that can be a way to go for it. It's the lizard thing, true. When you see a lizard from the front, like, they just look so goofy. They have such a goofy little grin. Oh, Alan Smiling Friends, yeah. I suppose I should see Smiling Friends at some point. I hear good things. Too much stuff to watch. I'm kind of in the middle of watching analog horrors now. Okay, I'll censor myself because I don't know who the audience for this is, but I'm sure people will hopefully get the reference. Oh, I want to see Backrooms. Backrooms looks fun. Okay. Here we go. It's the meme. We are so fucked. We're in the Backrooms. No. Yeah, I do want to see Backrooms, but I kind of should probably see the actual shorts first. Gerson is so cool. Gerson's the coolest. I want to see him again in Deltarune. I don't care if it's like, oh, it can only appear in certain darknesses. No, let's see him again. Let's do it. Scared the crap out of me. Highly recommend. Great. I think I can deal with some horror stuff. Okay, I don't really like slasher kind of like chopping up people, violent kind of stuff, but like a psychological horror kind of thing, like the Backrooms, I could probably deal with. I love that moment. That moment, the 10th anniversary stream just like blew everybody's minds. It's like, oh, by the way, I was in love with like a human, one of the humans that sealed us underground. I've never really gotten over it. Bye. Amazing moment there. Everybody was like, what? And part of that's probably because I'm like half human Susie reference, you know, context for that, but just even on its own, incredible. Are there jump scares in Backrooms? I guess there would be, because there's the life forms in the Backrooms. I don't know if that's going to be in the movie or if it's just the focus on, like, the psychological horror of, look at this empty space where people should be and they're not. But I wouldn't be surprised if also there's a scary in there. Okay, so they do have the life forms. There's a scary. But that is kind of like the dichotomy that even I tried to get across in, like, the latest Eldritchrune comic with Chris in the Void. It's like, what is scarier? You are alone in an empty place, or you are not alone in an empty place. But both of those are, like, the switch between them can be terrifying. Half-human Alvin stocks went from non-existing to existing, an infinitely large increase. Here's the funny thing, though. I don't think Alvin's half-human. Not in Deltarune. I think what's going on between, like, Gerson's human love interest and Alvin and Susie is that basically the difference is, okay, in Undertale, half-humans don't exist because humans and monsters are too physiologically different for that. You can have a romance, but you can't necessarily have kids. So, in this universe, Gerson fell in love with a human, one of the humans that locked them away, never quite got over it, didn't marry a monster after that, so Alvin doesn't exist. He just didn't have kids. And Susie, meanwhile, had 2 monster parents, not a human parent, which is why, like, her name is a little bit different, and we do not see her even in the 10th anniversary thing, because if we saw her, then, like, we could tell something was different. Whereas, in the Deltarune universe, Gerson married a monster, and he had kids, and that's why Alvin exists in Deltarune, whereas Susie had a human parent, and that's why she is different. Same people, just different circumstances. And I think that'd be an interesting, like, dichotomy between specifically Gerson and Susie because of their teacher-student relationship. He could be dead in Undertale, too. It's possible. The timeline is certainly all wonky between the 2 games. Poor Alvin. I think he got kidnapped in Deltarune currently. I think the reason why we don't see him at the end of Chapter 4 is I think he got turtle-napped off screen. I guess we'll find out. That's kind of where I'm currently leaning is, oh no, he got kidnapped. That could be an interesting nuance, yeah. That could be a very interesting take on it. To save the world, also gross. Yeah. Oh, that makes things complicated. We love you, Gerson, and your big complications and stuff like that. Please come back. What a bombshell at the end of the 10th anniversary, though. I really liked that moment, though, because even aside from, like, oh, by the way, like, Gerson was in a monster-human romance, just pointing out the fact that, like, hey, the things you may have been told about, you know, the war that put us here in the first place, things are actually more complicated than you thought. This was not, like, humans are all just horrible things and the monsters are all good. That, like, you know, there were humans that fought on the side of the monsters. And apparently monsters that fought on the side of the humans, which is a very interesting take that I think somebody else should explore more. But just the nuance added there added so much potential. So I'm glad that moment was included. Gerson the idea versus Gerson the monster. Especially since, like, yeah, in Deltarune, even the Gerson we see is more Gerson the idea than Gerson the monster. He had many facets. And only really one of those came out the teacher side. Yeah, exactly. That Gerson does have some regrets, and that's that he was not the best dad. This absolutely, like, you know, renowned and you know, celebrated author and stuff, and he was trying to, you know, make something for his children, and yet he still couldn't quite be the proper father that he needed to be. Very fascinating. The mammal and the reptile. Yeah. He's not a bad father, but he's not perfect. And you can like see the aspect of that. Birdly acting like a dork with Chris at the festival. How is Birdly acting like a dork? Let's see. Let's see. Also, I'm gonna have to stop and do a stretch after this. No, I don't think Alvin would say he's a bad dad either. That's the problem of it. Top romantic gesture. Like, oh, Chris, you'll fall for me like dominoes. I don't remember how to draw Birdly. Birdly, how do I draw you? Yeah, he was a pretty badass warrior. Here's my Birdly from memory. I forget how to draw Birdly. I've drawn Eldritchrune Birdly too much, and I haven't drawn actual Birdly enough. Yeah. Yeah. He does look a bit like a trumpet. You're probably correct. Here's him just yapping his head off about how cool and smart he is and how lucky Chris is to be dating him at the festival. Whereas Chris is like, well, thanks, player. You put me in this situation. Yeah, Chris has a cotton candy. Chris is carrying both their cotton candies and their ice creams because, you know, reasons. Yeah. One rabbit too many. No, Chris is just like, eh. You don't have to shout, Chris. Why are you saying Birdly that way? You don't have to keep saying it. Crispy chicken fan. And also here's like some booths back here where we'll go do some carnival games and stuff like that. Ferris wheel. My very janky Ferris wheel. There they are. The Curdly. It's real. I don't think I have Curdly set up in any of my files, so the Curdly will not be real when I play. Alas, alack. No Curdlies. I'd have to go back and redo my choices, which I don't think I'm going to do now. Alright, I'm going to take a stretch break. Yeah, they don't want Birdly dead or injured, but Chris kind of like, wait, player, why are you setting me up with Birdly? Please, no. Oh. It definitely exploded after it. You gotta appreciate Toby being like, you get some shipping material, and you get some shipping material. You all get shipping material. Here, just like dumping a big, you know, Halloween bucket full of shipping material candy on the fandom. Pick your favorite candy. Go for it. I think it might happen regardless. Yeah. And froze the bird. You're going to get gout? How does that work? If you hit me with a hockey stick, I'm setting you up with the nerd bird. Deal with it. Yep, you can take the Toby out of the Homestuck, but you can't take the Homestuck out of the Toby. That's just, you know, things that we'll have to accept. Still think it's extremely funny how he's like, yep, I do owe a lot to Andrew Hussey for teaching me about how to interact with my fandom. Namely, don't do it that way. Just like the quiet, like, I've learned some lessons from this kind of statement. Which, you know, good. If there's anything you can do from that, hilarious shade, it's learn some lessons. Chris does want to be with Susie, and on some level doesn't like the average player, is likely just pushing her and Noelle closer, even if Chris isn't necessarily jealous of Noelle. Yeah, I don't think that Chris is actually, like, if Susie and Noelle got together without Chris, I don't think Chris would be jealous, but I do think Chris could be lonely. So that's why we keep getting these little bits thrown in of, like, throuple stuff going on, where Susie and Noelle are very obviously, you know, they like each other, they're becoming closer, they're comfortable around each other, but then they also have these moments where they're like, man, if Chris was here, that would be cool. You know? So I think Susie and Noelle will definitely be a thing, but they also both care about Chris and do not want Chris to be lonely or left out. I do like the idea of, you know, Arrow Ace Chris being part of the throuple. Mostly because I want some Arrow Ace representation, please. That would be neat. I also just like, you know, it's so rare to see that kind of thing of like, hey, you know, just because this third person is not, you know, part of the romantic aspect of this relationship doesn't mean it's any less important or valued. How did I get first tier on your stream? Yes, basically last time a bunch of gift subs were handed out. This was before my internet died. I was so upset about it. But very generous gifter gifted a whole bunch of subs. So actually, you know what? I need to add I have enough sub points. I need to add some emotes. I forgot to do that. I gotta do that after we're done. Shout out polycules. Yeah, exactly. How long will it last? I believe it lasts a month, and then you can renew it if you want. And if not, then that's fine. Alright, I will be right back for one more stretch. I return. Yeah, I've talked about this several times in streams, but it really does suck how, like, if you become popular enough, you pretty much just have to disengage from your fandom, which is kind of crappy because, like, again, as an artist, you really want to, you know, talk about what people think about your art and see what people have to say and stuff like that, but then you can just get overwhelmed by people being negative at you, misinterpreting things you say, etc., etc. So I think Toby has had to... I'm pretty sure Toby wants to interact with fandom. I'm pretty sure he observes it, but he's going to have to distance himself because anything he says, people just jump on like rabid dogs. There's the acid tunnel where it depends on who you give the present near the end of the Cyber City. If you pick Noelle, Rouse will make a comment on how nice Noelle is, that she didn't realize how nice she... Oh, yeah. So she is strong in ice magic. That might be relevant later. Whoa. We get into icy ice things. Relevant. That's how you gotta do it. You gotta make stuff just for yourself and the fellow freaks. The problem is sometimes you realize, oh my goodness, it's not just me and the fellow freaks. There's like a lot of other freaks out there. They're all gonna be freaks. On the one hand, it's like, man, it's cool there's so many freaks like me. On the other hand, you're like, whoa, people with a lot of freaks have a lot of feelings. Sometimes, the thing is, sometimes that just happens by accident. You can't necessarily control that. If you could control that, then, like, studios would be doing that all the time. But you can't necessarily control success. Some of it's like just being in the right place at the right time, having the right connections, having the right, material that hits for the right audience. There's a lot of factors outside of your control. I guarantee you there's a plethora of like really amazing good artworks out there right now that just don't have that same fandom because they just didn't quite hit all of those lucky spots. And you don't really know how to prepare for that kind of stuff until it's like thrown right in your face. And you're like, oh, what do I do with this? Because, like, people have all these sudden expectations of you. You're like, I'm just a guy. Heck, I know we do it to Toby, too. Like, I know I've done it. You gotta remember, okay, good writer, good storyteller, but also ultimately just a guy. The Among Us show came out? Okay. What, is it animated? The animation's cool. But I've got plenty of other stuff I need to watch. Too much. Animated. Okay, that's cool. I'm glad it's animated. Mostly because more jobs in my field, please. Voice acting was stacked. Crazy. Oh, Infinity Train. Wow. What a choice. Interesting. I do love me some Infinity Train. Interesting. Still think it's very weird how, like, there's that little bit of, like, red in Toriel's eyes. Very weird. Frodo is in it. Oh, the show was in limbo for years. Oh, no. Production hell. Oh, no. So we're bringing back, like, all the Infinity Train people for Among Us, of all things. The Rhapsody Street Kids grandma. I can't even remember all that meme. They finished it. So wait, so it was a distribution problem. So who was distributing it? Also Wayne Knight, of course. Who was distributing it? That they didn't distribute it. Oh, Paramount, of course. Thank you. Ugh. That's a whole nother issue. Like, I think people will blame artists for things that are not the artist's fault, but instead it's like, no, actually the person you need to blame for this is the distributor. Like, I remember people getting really, like, hemped up about Steven Universe's schedule, and it's like, that's not something the artists have control over, my dude. You watched any indie stuff that isn't Glitch? I'm sure I have. I do like me some Mystery Skulls. That's fun. Good grief. What are some other ones that I need to see? I really want to see Scavenger's Reign. I don't know if I'd call that indie, but I want to see Scavenger's Reign, but I don't think it's on my Netflix last I checked. Also, I suppose I should watch Has-Been at some point, because I have friends who like Has-Been, but I just haven't gotten to it. Definitely does feel weird to see it come out way past the game's fad phase. Yeah, that's odd. Paramount, what are you doing? At least Coyote vs. Acme is finally going to come out. We saw a trailer for that at Digital Circus. Yeah, it looks fun. Yeah, music looks fun for Has-Been. People like generate all this discourse about it, and mostly I'm just like, well, I do think this could use more fat characters, but like a lot of things could do that. not just Has-Been. I'm sure I'll see it sometime, but I probably need to do a situation where like I sit down with a bunch of friends and they watch it with me, because then I'll be invested because the friends are invested, kind of thing. Some shows it's like, okay, this is the most fun if I'm doing it like with a friend or a family member, because then you have that memories of doing a fun thing that your friend enjoys. And then gotta set aside the time for it. Yep. Body type controversies, Season 2 took a massive nosedive in quality. Oh, that's weird. I wonder why that happened. Was it like production quality, or was it like writing quality? I kind of wonder if like production-wise it got passed off to somebody else and they didn't give them the proper tools to do it, or the time. You know, time is a tool, I guess. But yeah, I haven't seen Hell of a Boss or Has-Been. I saw like the pilot of Has-Been. It didn't really quite grab me. Writing quality. Oh, that sucks. That's crappy. It's the kind of thing of like, well, I'm glad shows like that exist, because I think it's nice to have that kind of variety, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are for me. So I'm willing to give it a shot, but I wouldn't be surprised if I'm not very invested in this kind of thing. And that's fine. Not everything has to be for me. Why isn't it all catered to my tastes? I'm uncomfortable when we are not about me. Spread rumors about indie creators being... It's so frustrating. I'll be honest, I wonder how much of that is AstroTurfed. Like, I think we keep forgetting, like, a lot of current fandom discourse stuff is, like, deliberate bad actors trying to push certain social ideas. Like, that was literally what happened with Star Wars, for example. I'm like, there's no reason why, you know, if an indie project gets big enough, the AstroTurfing won't happen there, too. Like, it's not all AstroTurf. I would say some of it is legit complaints, but I'm wondering about the scale of it. Person was co-writing for VisiPop was less involved, became a lot more self-indulgent. That does explain you gotta have an editor. Like, it's good to, you know, do your vision and all that stuff, but there's a reason we hire editors. Sometimes you gotta have somebody to rein in your worst impulses. And it's one thing if, like, okay, this is a fan fiction, it doesn't really matter, you know, in the grand scheme, you can do whatever you want. It's another thing when it's like you're creating something for a wider audience. And that's not with the Dreamer battle sprite is red and Asgore because his trident. Toy doesn't have weapons. Having Toy wearing a red dress and purple runes would be weird. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know the real reason for it. This is a strange choice. But yeah, I guess it is kind of thing where, like, if a writer sometimes gets, like, too popular and stuff, people become afraid to edit them, and that ends up being detrimental. You need your editors, and you need your cinematographers. You basically need people to, like, help pare down what you're doing. possibly so. For me personally, I actually really liked the ending. I know there were some things that were not answered. I'm not surprised. I don't think you can answer every question. And some, like the thing with Jax was pretty abrupt. I was kind of like, whoa, wait, what happened kind of thing. I think that might have been the point, was to make it abrupt, because people were anticipating it so much that we, like, just skipped over the process and just went right to the actual result to generate that kind of feeling. But overall, I liked it. I thought that it ended happier than I thought it would. Like, this is basically kind of like, the ending was kind of like, what if we did Soma, but it wasn't so depressing? What if we had a happy ending to Soma? You know, as happy as we can do in this situation. What if we learned to listen to each other? So, I appreciated that. Mostly, like, because when I was going in to the theater, like, I'd heard, oh, people leaked it online and they hated the ending and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I'll temper my expectations. By the time we were done, I'm like, wait, what did people hate? I thought that was great. Again, not perfect. There's always, you know, things that I'm like, okay, I wish this had happened instead. But, like, objectively, on the whole, I'm like, I thought this was pretty satisfying for an ending. Are always sort of interrogating the ideas we have and making sure everyone understands why it is. That's a good system to have. That is good. It's tricky stuff. I am always scared about sticking the landing. You know, people definitely have feelings about how Paper Trail ended, and I've already written Eldritchrune's ending, and some people have already read that, and I got some feedback from them on it. And mostly the feedback is, make sure that you cover this in the story beforehand so it doesn't come out of nowhere. So that's what I'm trying to do. Hopefully I will cover all of that. Like, literally on the scenes I had to do for Eldritchrune, I was trying to be like, okay, in this scene, let's make sure that this topic gets brought up at least in some way. Yeah, it could have used some refining the execution. I think that's going to be true for a lot of things, but especially because, like, just for that small of a studio, for independent studios, I do know people that work for Glitch on stuff, like, not for Glitch directly, but work on them. I'm not going to say who or for what projects, but they have said that there are some frustrations in, like, just how the pipeline is set up and all that stuff. And, like, for as much as, like, I'm happy that indie animation is doing what it's doing, it's really clear that, like, the reason why we actually need these legacy studios is because they've already spent the decades working out these kinks that come with production, because production is always difficult. Whereas the indie studio is, like, still trying to figure that out, solve those problems, and it can become difficult. Oh, I'm sure. I mean, heck, my opinion on it has changed a bit. It was trying to get across this idea of, you know, I don't know, I was trying to imagine, like, okay, if I was Toby and trying to figure out this ending that had such an impact on me that I would want to make a game about it, like, 15 years later. That was kind of what came to my mind first. The sense of, like, okay, you, the player, having to, like, trust that these characters that you are involved with will be okay on their own and grant them back their autonomy in order to give them a happy ending. And of course that's going to not quite play the same in a static medium as it is in a game medium where you are interacting with it directly. I just am not a game programmer, so I had to do it through the medium that made sense to me. But that was the idea that I was trying to get across, is that, like, hey, if you care about these characters, you will grant them back their autonomy and the ability to do things on their own, and by doing so, you give them the best possible option to, like, avert fate. And I do think there's, man, you know what, maybe I can just copy paste this from the smart object. I'll leave that. And I do think we might be doing something a little bit similar in the actual game. Not in the sense of like, oh, we're going to, you write the story yourself. We're cutting off the ending there kind of thing. But in the sense of like, hey, the game player is like a really important aspect of this. Like basically the story cannot happen without you as the game player. Oh no, I'm materia. Oh no. Ugh. I really kind of wish that Toby would move to a different publisher, but that's probably difficult to impossible at this point. That's kind of always going to be the issue with a pilot, though, is that the point of a pilot is not necessarily to be the first episode. It's to sell you on the concept so that your actual show will get produced. And shows used to do this all the time, and then they would just, like, that would become the first episode. Like, that's how X-Files was. I remember that. Yeah, but yeah, the materia thing, that sounds like a nightmare to deal with. I don't make very much money off of my YouTube, so I haven't really thought about worrying about that yet. Like, if I get a little copy thing of like, oh, this is somebody else's work, I'm like, okay, then I just won't monetize this video because I don't depend on YouTube revenue for, like, any money. Maybe someday that'll work out. I'll have a hit video that takes off. But right now, I'm still stuck at, like, I don't know, $12. They won't even pay anything out. So I just haven't thought about it. But yeah, having to actually deal with that for a game you're making. Ugh, nightmare. Nightmare. I gotta make a Gaster and FNAF video. Well, I gotta, I guess, do what Spooky Dude does and just, like, put some Gen Alpha meme in the title. And then the kids will click on it. Regardless of what's in the actual video. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I don't really care that much. And also, I don't know what the memes are. I'm in my 40s. I don't know your memes. I'm not supposed to. I'm not child. I won't understand them. Yeah, Sebastian Wolf was a giant man-child. Still is. Ugh. At this point, self-publishing or making his own little group of trusted individuals to manage it might be better than the mess we're in now. Yeah. It might be. I don't know how difficult that is. That might be one of those things where, like, I don't know, if I was in that situation, I would probably be like, well, I don't want to manage it. I don't find fun managing this. I just want to do the things that I want to do. And it might be a contractual thing where, like, again, I don't know what the contract is like, where they literally can't leave this position for X number of years or whatever and find a new publisher. And yeah, maybe that's how Materia was like 10 years ago and it just changed. That can happen. You can start with a company that seems pretty good and then, like, under your feet it becomes crappy. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like, good grief. Yeah, seriously, that's pretty darn bad. I mean, I know CEOs are just not to be trusted in general, but maybe take away their access to social media too, because they're so bad at this, and they get all weird and they get all weird and personal that people don't like them, and it's like, my dude, you are a CEO of a company. Of course, people don't like you. The payoff is that you get a lot of money for doing nothing. So maybe shut your mouth about that. The smart CEOs are the ones that keep their mouths shut. But some people just really want people to care about what they have to say. Yeah, well, the Homestuck thing seems like it was an entirely different problem because, I don't know, Homestuck just absolutely stumbled into its own success and then tried to, like, manage everything they did themselves. and weren't necessarily good at the management part, that kind of sounds like that's what happened. Is that like sometimes managing it yourself does not go well. Sometimes you actually do want somebody else to do that for you because like you're just not a good manager. That's a whole nother skill set that might that it sounds like Hussey didn't necessarily have. Let's have some need some connection for the albums. Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, if you were in this position of like being a CEO, okay, but like you don't gotta weigh in on things. You don't got to make people agree with you. Sometimes you just gotta keep your mouth shut. I would be interested to see how that goes, and maybe once you're actually done with the full game and can, speak freely about it, because that does kind of sound like it was deeply obnoxious, and I'm sorry about that. It's such an ongoing problem. Like, as an artist, what you want to focus on is just making your art. You just want to like put all your brain power into, crafting the narrative, making the assets, thinking about how all this stuff works together, because that's already a lot of work. You don't really want to do the necessary managerial paperwork, finance stuff. But then that means you've got to pass that off to somebody else, and that somebody else can often make just really poor choices, and you're the one who takes the blame for it. And that's so frustrating. Yeah, that might be really informative at the very least. Just people like know what they're dealing with in terms of, okay, if you want to, make music, here's my experience with the publisher kind of thing. All right, this we're gonna do smart object with, 'cause it's the rug. But no, I would be interested to hear that. But focus on what you want to focus on first. I didn't even feel like there were that many like Undertale music references in the demo. Like, there were a couple things I'm like, okay, this is similar to parts of Hotland or the hotel theme and stuff like that. So I'm assuming that the square is like where Mettaton's hotel is going to be built. But I feel like most of the music was original, at least from what I could see. I'm trying to decide. I should probably draw this out. Syllables on the UTY team can also speak to that. So yeah, that might be like an informative little essay or something. Just hey, if you're going to make a project, be aware you're going to be dealing with that. Is that there weren't? Huh. So what was the experience like then? Yeah, it's weird. Like, if there weren't that many songs that were based on the actual Undertale soundtrack, if a lot of them were original, then what were Materia's complaints? Again, like, there was a couple of them, like, I recognize, okay, that's a little bit of another medium, that's a little bit of the hotel theme. But aside, and obviously, snowy and stuff like that, areas we've already been in. But again, I felt like most of it was new. I had to go and count the usage of the Undertale motifs in the whole OST for this, and in the end it only made up about 20% max. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. The rest was original. And yet still, less than a quarter, a fifth of it had some Undertale usage, and they were still being obnoxious about it. Good grief. It's not even like you're making money off of this. This is a fan game. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. What a mess. Also, what on earth is that? If I must have a thing here. Must have a word bubble here. Part of that's missing. It's just so picky. It's so weird. It's the kind of thing I was like, okay, I can understand this for the sake of, like, you know, somebody trying to sell a product that, you know, you sell. But for fan games, like, people go into that with the expectation that you're not going to be making money off of them. So, I guess that's the whole thing. It's not about a money thing. Oh, Ice Baby rips off Under Pressure's intro. Meanwhile, Fred fan games can't even upload a soundtrack. Seriously. Yeah, that's a whole thing. Copyright law, good grief. Like, in a perfect world, copyright law would not exist. But until we live in that perfect world, we are going to need it. Just to make sure that, you know, some people make money and can pay their bills and stuff like that. But, oh, free fan games, yeah. It's a nightmare, a nightmare. It's such a lucky, and again, like, as an artist, what you want to focus on is the actual art stuff. I mean, it's such a distraction from it. Actual amount of untailed material used was irrelevant legally. If we wanted to release the whole OST, we had to get licenses for the songs that use the Undertale motifs. I imagine those aren't cheap at this point. Release their art in public domain or have open source or what have you. That is true. I respect people who can do that. You usually have to be in, like, a really comfortable position. You either have to have, like, incredibly strong principles and be like, screw the money, this is for everybody kind of thing. Or you have to be in a pretty comfortable financial position. And the problem is sometimes it's a really bad situation where, like, you are a person with principles and you do release things free for the public. And then somebody else comes along and is like, well, I can make money off of that, and basically steals your copyright from you. And then the whole purpose of you releasing this thing for free is for naught because somebody else has stolen that from you. Which is honestly the reason why I suspect a lot of people do hang on to their own copyrights, even if they don't care about the money, is to prevent somebody else from doing that instead. And just exploiting your own work. That has happened to multiple people who had, like, you know, good intentions and did not want, you know, this to be a profit thing. They wanted this to be for everybody. Weird nuances were a cover. Yeah, what's a cover and a remix and stuff like that? Everything is, you know, remixed. Meanwhile, Toby's over here, like, you know, Materia Collective's out here, yelling, this counts as remix or derivative and makes money, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, like, Toby's over here making Deltarune with the premise of Deltarune being, like, you will save the world through adaptation of art. Adaptations and changing of art is how you save your soul. Yeah, mostly I'm really tickled by the fact that somebody put up, like, the box office numbers for this weekend, and it was like Digital Circus, then the Backrooms, then Obsession, and then Star Wars in terms of, like, how much money those made at the box office, and the first three, like, blew Star Wars out of the water. Maybe people are not super invested in franchises and want to have new experiences. What makes you think that Azrael was supposed to be the original knight? A lot of it is vibes thing, but especially, like, well, for one thing, it is a much more direct copy of Mother 3. In Mother 3, that, like, spoilers for Mother 3, but in that one, the protagonist's brother, who has been mysteriously not present, ends up being the main bad guy. And basically Azrael has this kind of, like, weird sense around him where, like, people just keep talking about him all the time and bringing him up, and, like, he should be present but he's not. So there's also the fact that if you look at some much earlier stuff for related to, like, Undertale Deltarune, Noelle is not mentioned as having a sister, but then after like 2018 she is, which makes it seem like Des might have been a late addition. So if that was the case, then I think it would be Asriel. That's the gist of it? Oh, that's so frustrating. Needing to be the one yeah, it's not even necessarily a money thing, it's a responsibility thing. Oh my goodness. I think I need to take a stretch break here, though. But we'll keep chatting. I was gambling pretty recklessly with a theater release. Yeah, it paid off. I don't know how you're going to replicate that kind of thing. It's pretty, that's pretty unusual. Yeah, it ended up paying off. It was a gamble, though. Yeah, if Mother Free released the was, people realize how unoriginal I am. Okay. Again, that sounds like astroturfing. I don't understand that kind of mentality of, I'm gonna review bomb it on Letterboxd or whatever. Like, I don't know, dude. You really can't fight the fact that, for the most part, audiences really like Backrooms. I've only heard good things about it from both, like, people who care about the, original series and people who don't know what it is. I would like to see it, even though I'm not much of a horror movie person. I think that's the kind of horror I'd be like, okay, I can deal with this. I can deal with the spookies that are in the scary room. I do hope they have, like, a bit of a pool rooms mentioned, because, like, my favorite liminal space is, like, the pool rooms. I wish those were real. I want to go to, like, just these big empty, like, chlorine-smelling pool spaces and just, like, exist. Like, that sounds deeply satisfying to me. I know, like, liminal spaces can have, like, this kind of thing where both they're either, like, scary or comforting, and, like, for me, pool rooms is the comforting one. Like, I want to do that. I wish that existed in real life. Real life pool rooms. Jack and Jellify putting the finale parts of the animation series in theaters. Nice. I need to see Backrooms. I'm so bad at seeing movies by myself. I've always got so much to do. Oh, those are liminal, but I want a big water park. Yeah. I need to go swimming again. We have the community center that's a little bit of a drive away. It's not really much of a water park, but they have, like, a lazy river and a hot tub and some water slides, and I love doing that. I love just going around the lazy river with my friends. So I need to do that now that it's summer. We gotta get us to the pool. We gotta go swim. Probably one of my favorite scenes I've seen in a movie in a long time. Cool. Again, I do need to watch the short. I'm trying to get through a bunch of analog horrors right now, again, for reasons I won't get into. I've gotten through Gemini Home Entertainment, and I finished Monument Mythos, although I skipped the last season of Monument Mythos because that was, like, modern-day Trump stuff, and I didn't really want to watch any of that. But the rest of Monument Mythos was good, and right now I'm on Somnium Dream Viewer. I'm basically going in the order that, like, Spaceman Scott did in his ranking video. So I'm just going through all the ones that he had listed. But I know Backrooms is on there, so I gotta watch the original Backrooms shorts. And the movie. I gotta see them both. Yeah, again, I feel bad for Goose because, like, they just got overwhelmed by the fandom, but it is really cool to see that gamble with the theater pay off. Like, when I saw it in the theater on Thursday, there was a packed house. People were in cosplay. There was, like, somebody who just went around with, like, tiny little figurines, and they're like, take a little guy, and I'm like, a little guy. So I got, like, a frog. They had, like, a little standee setup you could take pictures with outside. We didn't do that, but it was out there. And alright, I'll be right back for one more stretch and orange juice and stuff. Alrighty, I return with my juice. Oh, Local 58. Yeah, that's the big one. I gotta watch that one. I think Local 58 is like the standard by which a lot of other things try and, like, you know, replicate its success. Because that is one everybody really liked. For good reason. Oh yeah, Alex gotta bring his cane doll with him. That's so cute. Yeah, that's so cool that they got to have, like, a red carpet and stuff like that. I'm glad they got to have that experience. And mostly just shows, like, hey, you know, this is art that people care about. And again, just as somebody who works in animation, I'm very glad that this stuff exists and that it's being made. And what I want the takeaway from this to be is for Hollywood to be like, hey, there's a market we're not tapping into here because we're so stupidly focused on, like, you know, risk-free, safe bets like Star Wars and franchise stuff and whatever. But there's, like, markets here for that people want to see, you know, new, interesting things. Although, unfortunately, probably the takeaway that Hollywood will get from this is, like, well, we'll just get a bunch of cool stuff from the internet and make movies out of it. Let's make a movie about Jeff the Killer. And no, don't do that. The lesson you need to take away from stuff like Backrooms and Iron Lung and Digital Circus is that you need to, you know, start taking some chances on young and upcoming directors who are experienced in another field and see what they can do, because you might get some successes. My movie would be boring. I spend all day at a computer drawing. That's not exciting. I don't even have an unhappy childhood or anything like that. I get along well with my family. There's no drama. The drama is the drama I make up on the computer, on the internet. That's not exciting. The Emoji Movie, yeah. Really? Oh, yeah, our screening was packed. Our screening was full of people, but we're also, like, you know, in a major city, so that's probably why. Movies from Alfie's perspective, and her quest is to get bananas. Her quest mostly consists of her waiting for her to give her a banana. I guess they don't have to be exciting, as long as they're compelling, though. Oh, speaking of Alfie's, it was so funny yesterday. She was so excited for crickets. I had some crickets in, like, this Tupperware container that has, like, all the calcium powder in it, you know, so you can get them covered in calcium powder. And she was so excited that she, like, put her claws on the Tupperware container and it tipped all the calcium powder all over her and her tank. And I'm like, girl, the powder, you're covered in calcium powder. And she's like, but I got a bug, so it's fine. Tried to wipe it off, and it's shockingly difficult to wipe powder off of scales, so it's kind of still there. And girl, that's supposed to go inside your body, not outside it. There, that's your exciting movie, the lizard that dumped powder all over herself. She loves cricket. She loves bug, not the sport. She doesn't love the sport. She does love her bugs. She'd probably love a worm even more, but I'm not supposed to give her worms because they're too fattening. Because it was like 1 p.m. and there were like 2 separate screenings for the OVA and the PT dub. Okay, that makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, when we saw Digital Circus, it was like 7 p.m. So, people were out of school, all that stuff. Alfie was trying to snort the calcium powder. Don't do it. I don't think your little lungs can handle that. I can't do it. I left. I saw the giant group of people coming in the next evening screening. I saw Jack's cosplayer and everything. Yeah. We saw some cosplayers too. I saw a Jax, a Kane, and I think it was either a Ragatha or a Zubul. Very cute. some reason they were in like the front row like us, and I'm like, I don't know why you're in the front row. This is not a good place to be. We got front row because we got our tickets too late. We got it kind of strained, but all that considered, like, it wasn't too bad being in like, well, not the front row, but like the third row. It wasn't terrible being up close, basically. Some movies like are just unwatchable when you're like so close to them. But no, this was fine. Yeah, our theater was pretty dang full. Imagine how it's going to be when, like, we go to the Undertale concert in October. We got our tickets for that. Well, they went super fast. We had to get balcony seats. And even then, those were pretty expensive. Oh, that's weird. Oh no, that sucks. Why did they do it that way? I think for the most part, like when you do a seating chart, people expect the screen on the left, and like if you're on the right, then you're the furthest away from the screen. They don't usually put the screen on the right and the furthermost from it on the left. Yeah, Symphony, woohoo! I'm excited. Me and a bunch of friends. We're gonna go get barbecue ahead of time, and then we're gonna go to the thing. I have to wait for like February. Oh no! I guess it does depend on where you're located. I'm glad they're adding like locations for it. Didn't they finally add some in like Mesoamerica? I know that was a big topic for a while, but from what I heard, like, did they finally get some concert locations in either Mexico or South America or something like that? I thought they did. I hope they do. You see it top screen to bottom. Could be that too. Yeah. Either left to right or top to bottom. We have tickets for the one in DC. Okay, excellent. I'm glad they got some stuff there. Ding, who's that? It's my Virgin, whatever. Good. I'm glad they're able to get some stuff for that. I'm sure there's still the issue of like, how do we get Fangamer merch out there? But that's less of a Fangamer problem, more of like a geopolitical economics problem. The train to the other side of the country and then get the train back and get back to home at 1 p.m. It's worth it. Woo! Yeah, this is a really fun remix. I really like this remix of Sword. Bring out the Zelda bits. I'm also happy that like there were locations for Vancouver immediately available for the concert. Usually for some reason, like if they do like big concert things, they'll do it like in Toronto, or else you have to go to Seattle for it. So I was like, yay! It's in Vancouver, yay! So yes, I will be doing that with a bunch of friends. Is this the Chatterex Sword remix? Well, let me give a look and check. Yes, it is. You're correct. You guessed it. You guessed it. There's not that many Sword remixes, so this is probably my favorite one. I think this is the one that I put on my CD for the car. Mine is November. Yeah, mine is in October. Well, you were correct. That was the person that made it. What are your thoughts on what board 3 of the Sword route represents in the Weird route? Oh goodness, that's kind of a complicated situation. I know people seem to think like, oh, this is what's going to happen in Chapter 5. I don't know about that. And I don't know, I kind of doubt that, like, in the Weird route, Chris is just going to kill Ralsei and Susie. I think that's a little bit over the edge. I can't see that happening, even in the Weird route, but I'm not sure what all it represents. Probably doesn't help there are some, like, vestiges of, like, okay, the Sword route in board 3 was supposed to mirror the regular board 3 route, and that didn't end up happening. We didn't get the city board. So it's kind of weird to see all that city stuff when, like, we didn't do that in the regular route. The GameCube Sword remake sucks, dude. Get Dragon Blazers, blah, blah, blah. Your ears were on point. Correct ears. Yeah, I couldn't spot most of them, but I think Sword is recognizable because there's not that many takes on Sword. I can't remember all of the ones, but I only have like one good remix of Burning Eyes, for example. Must represent the player's soul. Apparently, the little hero sword is loose now. Somewhere in the world, where are they going to turn up again? If at all, or are they just like free now to stab people in the knees? Willy-nilly. Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that and that and that with smart objects, so we'll come back to that later. I think one low-key underappreciated Game Boy moment is if you go Tenna before finishing Sword. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I missed that. There's like an interesting scene that I don't remember what it is. But in the hallway between the green and the static area. What does he do there? I'm trying to remember. I do find it interesting. I didn't realize this was the case too until I saw it. But basically, like, if you do the Susie Zilla game before talking to Tenna, where Susie's like, I don't like it when people don't tell you the whole deal. Susie is excited for the Susie Zilla game. But if you do it after she's had that moment of like, I don't really trust Tenna anymore, like, she seems a lot more kind of like, okay, whatever. She's like put off by the Susie Zilla game. So, interesting. That's true. I guess if we sealed the fountain, they're not actually running around stabbing people in the knees. Alas. Starts in the Dreamer home before you go to a small segment of city, and there's possibly symbolism there at possibly everybody finishes Sword first. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. There really is such like a wealth of like possibilities out there that like most people don't ever find. The small Chris is the night. We got to add that to the the theory survey. Like, that's why I appreciate some interesting playthroughs. Like I liked Lauren the Flute's playthrough of Chapter 3 because I saw some stuff that I never would have seen otherwise, just because of like how aggressively pacifist and thorough she played the game. So there were some cool things I had not seen before, and I was like, oh my goodness, I never would have known. It still got stabbed in the knees with a little chip. Very weird stuff. Wants to do a non-shadow crystal run, but on the other hand, it's so engaging. Lauren the Flute's great. Again, I hope that health problems get better, but again, I did enjoy her Chapter 3 playthrough. Yeah, again, because the way it was played was so different, it was very interesting. I saw the name in your credits, and I was like, oh, I know that name, hooray! Playing through the credits, I'm like, this person, it's a small fandom after all. And heck, I was watching Andrew Cunningham's playthrough of Cooking with Kindness, and it was so funny, like, he missed things that I did, and he got some things that I missed. I'm like, oh, it's so funny to see, like, what people catch and what they don't. Like, heck, even with the Susie Zilla game, I missed that my first playthrough, and I was so mad because I was positive that we were going to have some Susie Zilla thing that had been set up. And then I thought we missed it, and it turned out I just missed it because I was a dummy and didn't do the game. You think that the Susie Zilla thing would have more of a purpose than just being a theme of a minigame? Yes, I think we're going to get, like, a proper Dragon Susie in the future. I got a designer, actually. I got, like, thoughts on that. So, yes, I think that Susie becoming bigger more monster-y, dragon-y monster is a thing that will happen. At least I want it to happen. Yeah, a lot of the violent fruit scenes, probably not. They're not going to be seen by me, because that's just not how I play. You really got to have, like, certain people that will just pursue that. Well, hopefully so. Hopefully so. Even if it's not on a stream, if she just plays it and enjoys it, that would be neat. Like, even if they're not doing pacifist route, they're doing weird route. I didn't trust that Pippins. No, I didn't. I should have. Mostly because my problem is I'm pretty stingy with, like, currency. I didn't want to spend my currency, so... All we want to do is see her turn into a giant Susie. A giant Susie. True. She deserves it. She deserves to be a big dragon slash kaiju slash both. And burn the world down. Do it. Alright, I think this one we can use my smart objects again. Yeah, I'm too stingy with my items and money. I need to actually spend them sometimes. Yay! I'm excited to see more of it. Again, I'm invested. When you have the full game out, I will play it. Even if I will suck at it. Because I'm like, the warrior wear, I'm not good at it, but I'll try. I mean, I'm not good at bullet hell dodging either, so it's still worth it. That really is what art is like. You're like, damn it, this has been in my brain for years. I have to get it out. I have to do it. I'll go crazy if I don't. That really is how it be. So just imagine, like, we're all waiting for Deltarune, and meanwhile, Toby's like, this has been in my brain for 15 years. Ah! Like, it drives you to madness. That's really what art is just like, it drives you to madness. You have to do it. Tennis fight, Undertale. Oh, really? No. I died in that Moz wave. I couldn't quite work it out. And I was like, no, I have to do it all again. No. Especially after, like, somehow got insanely lucky with that, like, quadrupled treasure thing. something cursed mirror. That's how it be. That's the scary part of, like, game design for me, is like you think you can predict, oh, if I account for this, this, and this, then the player will do it. And then of course something will happen that you, like, did not account for that the player does, that one player does. I've had art stuck in my brain for decades too. He's not unique. That's the whole point, is that the point of art is that whatever's stuck in your brain, you gotta get it out somehow. You gotta do it. It's a compulsion. Alright, I think I'll do a smart object for that too. So that's why I'm still plugging away at these dang backgrounds. I'm like, okay, I've got Eldritchrune all done. I know I've got it, like, planned out. I know how the ending goes. I just have to make it. I just have to make it. That's all I have to do for years. Oh, try using items on Moz. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't think that cooking items would work. I thought it was like, okay, we gotta do the mini games. Especially because, like, the timer is there. It's like, oh no, I have a timer. I don't have time to waste trying things. I gotta just do it. Do you think her getting the soul is what makes her the giant dragon? Yes, 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 yes. That is what I want to see. That is what I'm kind of banking on. Yes, that's what I want to draw. I've got so much stuff I need to draw. It's not fair, my wrist. See all the dialogue we wrote for him and the reaction to items. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, I gotta go through and try all these different items on him. Oh, options. The items can be refunded for time. Oh, interesting. Was that said? Was that mentioned? I don't remember that being mentioned. Because refunding the items for time, that's a cool mechanic. Interesting. I didn't know that. Maybe it was mentioned and I didn't pay attention. That's certainly, like, a problem that I've had sometimes. But if that is the case, good to know. Because, yeah, I was constantly thinking, like, oh, I'm going to run out of time. You're going to jump up and get me. Okay. Yeah, that again, that's the tough thing, is that you especially, I think, with making a game, like, when you're so deep into it, you think, oh, this makes sense to me. I don't have to explain it. And then you do. Because it made sense to you. You didn't think about how you'd have to explain it. That's so difficult. But okay, that's neat. Neat mechanic. Know that, okay, if you run out of time, you can cash that in for time. Cool. Some of it is like I was not paying attention. Like, I avoided doing like the Dragon Slayer game for a bunch because I was like, it was just rock paper scissors. I got it wrong, and then later somebody pointed out, no, he telegraphs his move to you. The dragon telegraphs the move to you, so you can know what rock paper scissors to do. And it's like, oh, okay, I just gotta actually pay attention. Just gotta pay attention, you dummy. Yes, it was enjoyable. And I was invested in the characters. And I gotta draw them, so maybe we'll do that next art stream. Maybe we'll take a little break from Eldritchrune stuff, even though that is going on constantly for me. And we'll do some cooking with kindness drawings, and that will be fun. Need to probably do some more color stuff anyway. Been in black and white mode forever. Because I do that both for Eldritchrune and for my job. My job is mostly drawing stick figures, so I don't spend as much time like refining things. Obscure dialogue for replaying the demo after finishing it once that nobody's ever found until last Friday. Okay. Shoot, I don't have to do a replay then. Try again. What are your thoughts on that unused mural in the Lice Cave that depict a giant lizard dragon fighting against an angel-like being? On the one hand, I have weird thoughts on that. On the one hand, like, I can see that being a likely thing that happens in Deltarune, where we have a Susie versus Noelle battle that's intended to be like the final boss of the Roaring, basically, but is not the actual final boss of like the game. On the other hand, I don't really like using that particular thing as evidence because like I have that book and I look through it and there's no indication there that like this was something that was planned specifically for Deltarune. Like, they're like, oh, this was just Timmy drawing a bunch of, like, stuff that was going to be in a cave and we decided to scrap it. So, unless Toby literally told Timmy, hey, make sure you draw a little drawing of a dragon fighting a monster that has reindeer antlers and angel wings and snakes and stuff, and they're fighting, I want you to put all that in that, then, like, it was just stuff Timmy drew. And if that was the case, then, like, I'm sure Timmy was like, well, why okay, Toby, but why do you want this specifically in this part where nothing else seems to be all that important? And why is this relevant to, like, a game that is not Undertale kind of thing? Like Toby is not the one that did that concept art. Timmy is. So Toby would have had to, like, just say, do all that. And, for seemingly no reason. Yeah. It didn't make much sense without saying why. Yeah. It's mostly kind of like, I'm thinking of it as like, again, from an artist perspective, like, okay, if Timmy drew this, what were the circumstances of Toby asking her to draw this? It was not Toby's concept art. So, did you read the, no, I still haven't. I'm so behind. Excuse me. Is it short? I could probably do it if it's short. I haven't read any Courier New Fix. I keep hearing how good they are, and I still haven't read them. Aww. Oh, that's sweet. It's always so cool when people, you know, make a fan art or a fanfic of what you do, and you're like, yay! Like, the Toby's description of, like, somebody drew fan art of my character, turns into a basketball, swishes through the hoop. That is how it feels. So, 5K words? Yeah, I can do that. That's not too bad. I can do a 5K fanfiction. That is very doable. So yeah, just send that to me. Like a 20-minute thing. I can probably like read that over lunch. That's probably as long as it takes me to like read a script for work. The same way as Rich History of Tim. True. Into Dragons and Demon Guys. They go hand in hand. Tim, Rich History. You can send it through either. I don't really get any Blue Sky DMs, so maybe I don't know how well they work. So maybe the Discord DMs would be best. But either one's fine. Nobody sends me nothing on the Blue Sky. Yeah, either one's fine. Read that over lunch. That one writer room bit in the Escape Chasm where you ask about the demon guy and she just stops and goes, I like hot demons. True. Maybe sometime on stream I should replay Escape Chasm and the other game. Because I did those once over Discord, but I haven't really played them since then. Yeah, I've never had anybody send me a Blue Sky DM. So I'm not quite sure how they work. Blue Sky needs to implement like better DMs and also polls so that I can move Anthrofractal to Blue Sky. And it's still on Twitter and it gets like, I don't know, 2 or 3 votes there. But that's only because like Twitter still has polls, whereas Blue Sky does not. So please, Blue Sky, stop throwing your phone in the pool and make some polls on your site. That would be useful. Surely you can vibe code that. Oh well, oh well. But yeah, Discord DM's fine. And I'll take a look. It's in a book, a reading rainbow and all that. Oh, thank you. Oh, I think that was over, I think that might have been over Blue Sky. Yay! I finally got it! Finally got a Blue Sky DM, yay! At least my phone showed it up, so. We'll discover Blue Sky DMs together. Thank you much. I'll take a look. Be my first Courier New fic. Everybody's hyped up Courier New, and I haven't read any. I'm so bad about actually reading other people's stuff. I try, but I'm always like, I can't stop and read things. I can't watch a movie. I have to make things, and that's not necessarily. You got to refill the well too. Can't just do all projects all the time. Okay, I'm also just Lynx Griffin on Discord, so. Not hard, especially since Discord is like, we're gonna get rid of numbers now. Ugh. Buying the Doors Seldom Open collection. Oh, is it like published fan fiction? Again, what would be really useful is if like it was an audiobook, because I don't have much time to read in person, unfortunately, which I know is not the best, but I do listen to audiobooks while I'm like, you know, doing chores and laundry and dishes and stuff like that. Like, I was listening to a new book yesterday that was pretty good. I was enjoying. It's a physical book. Okay. Could do that. Let's see. Oh my goodness, that's a bit involved. Why is Susie bald? Why is she missing an eye? Why is she baldsy? I don't see the Discord DMs yet. I'll wait for those to show up. Sure. Link to the book is fine as well. Get a little download. I think I gotta do a stretch break here too. Let's do these lines first though. Woo! Easy backgrounds. Probably because this is an action panel. Action panel now. Okay, yeah, I figured so. That's fan fictions. Okie dokie. It's stretch break time. Okay, now I see Discord DMs. And then we'll do the thing when I get back. No, bold! She bold! That monster in Deltarune is... Wait, what? Due to Asgore Sprite? Wait, I'm confused. Wait, what are we talking about? I do know. No, I'm pretty sure that, like, the not piss thing is a reference because, like, in Undertale, Asgore's like, I have to finish watering these flowers and you can't actually see what he's doing. So, you know, you can think up something, you know, uncouth, a little crass. And then, to differentiate from that in Deltarune, they named it Not Piss because he's actually watering the flowers and you can tell that he is. Alright, thank you for the links. I will look at those when I can. Shut up, Intel driver and support assistant. Shut up. In Holiday Mansion in Chapter 4. Baldness, because both the Hammer of Justice and the Spear of Justice are bald. I mean, technically they have hair, it's just all back in a ponytail. Originally, Susie did have ponytail. But now she just got big mop of hair. I do like one of the things that, like, Chris can do in, like, the fight against Susie is, like, compliment her on her hair. That's cute. That's cute. Okay. We will get to that once I'm done with stretch. I know there are some thoughts going around that, like, oh, Susie is, you know, in the Justice team, she's going to lose an eye. I don't think that's really been telegraphed the same way that, like, Chris losing a hand has been telegraphed, so I'll believe Susie loses an eye once we get more, like, hints that'll happen, aside from the fact that, like, Undyne and Gerson have that. Give us another little hint for that, and I'll buy it. But right now, my thoughts are like, yes, there's lots of telegraphing for Chris losing a hand, so that is what I think is going to happen. But either way, Noelle would think she looks cool. I've tried all kinds of new looks. Some good non-Undertale Deltarune fix. They're pretty heavy, but I remember him having really good Clinical Trial. Oh, I don't know Clinical Trial. Hollow Knight Silk Song. Nice. I haven't played any Hollow Knight Silk Song. I gotta watch, like, a proper playthrough of them. I think the most I've seen was, like, I saw a good Jacob Geller video essay on Silk Song that was interesting about, like, you know, Rapture theology as applied to Silk Song. So, I'm pretty fuzzy on, like, the plot details of Hollow Knight and Silk Song. I know it's something I should try at some point, but I'm a little scared. Susie loses an eye in my heart. Why are they losing body parts? Oh, no! I guess if she lives long enough, it's always a possibility. Jacob Geller's a big Skong fan. True. I mean, I'm not shocked. A lot of cool people I know are big Skong fans, so not shocking. Alright, be right back for one more stretch and stuff. Okay, I am back. Oh, good luck with lunch. The mission is called. Oh, that's so funny. Ask or not. yeah, that's what I was talking about. Okay, another doodle request. Lost in the Backrooms and wondering. Our map is correct. What was the other one we had to do first? Hold on. I got 2 requests. Okay. We're back on that. Back in action. Make sure I save that. Ooh. Okay. Where's my do? Let's see. I can find room for everything. Also, why is Captain Solano lost in the Backrooms? Nothing like that. Big Grief, I'm so used to like drawing her face with the hair that without the hair, it's like it's definitely weird. She'll live. She's got a map. I don't think those work in the Backrooms. Isn't that kind of the... Well, I guess no. Maybe in the movie he is like trying to map out the backroom. So maybe it'll work if you got a map. Map from Dora. He's OP. Don't put Dora in the Backrooms. Even though like we have like Gerson's sprite of him doing like his cool little dance. It's always looks so weird to me. Like I know what Toby was trying to accomplish, but even like the sprite work is still a little bit odd. Yeah, Timmy was animating it. That's true. It's the kind of thing like I understand the motion that was coming across. It looks a little weird in the sprites. Go Susie, go Susie. Like let's make sure this. Okay, big axe. That is true. He did record the footage. I really wish we could like see that footage. That would be so interesting to see. So, sorry, you happened to request right after another request right after I had to go on a break. So I'm trying to remember both. Acts of justice. He's so impressed. The Susie is impressive no matter what. That's just the Suze. Okay, hopefully I can get across the idea of the Backrooms in a very short amount of space. It seems like the kind of thing that like you could do as a very fun little like commission or what am I trying to say? Or convention like thing. Like, here, I'm gonna draw your character like lost in the Backrooms. I'm using the wrong hotkeys again. I'm doing it. Pool rooms, I think, would be even more complicated. Probably just easiest to draw a bunch of, like, cubicles, basically, for the Backrooms. Move over here. Any luck on the summer comms? Well, it is looking likely that I'll have a hiatus for work, so summer commissions are looking likely. Like, I'm not sure when exactly, but I will likely have a hiatus in work, so commissions will likely happen. Depending, because I've got so much other stuff to do. Yeah, it is crazy they are both named after Smash players. That is extremely funny. The life... I'm not even quite sure, like, what the life form looks like, except for, like, kind of a mess of, like, cables. So, I'll do my best. Where's DuckDuckGo? I'm gonna try and use that. I'm trying not to use Google so much. So, let's see. My Little Pony Captain Solano. I'll probably bring up stuff. Yes, here we go. The real horror was bad cable management. True, I could probably manage my cables better, to be honest. It's the it's oh no, it's Papyrus's spaghetti. Come to life. Captain hat. Earring. I have to make her a little smaller to make sure she has room. Gerson was the one initially named after a turtling match. Toby extended the name joke when it was named for Alvin. Yeah. Apparently they were stuck in a loop of, like, turtling. Which then made him a turtle. And worked out for other reasons, too. Prices will probably be the same as last time. Which is to say they are dependent upon, you know, how complicated things are, if there's color, if there's backgrounds, etc., etc., etc. Again, I don't know when those will open, because I don't know exactly when a hiatus might happen or for how long it'll happen. I am still in the dark about a lot of that information, but it seems likely that they will happen at some point. I just don't know how long they will be, or, yeah. So I'm sure I'll have other stuff to do as well. I really would like to make plenty of Eldritchrune progress. If Chapter 5 comes out, I'll probably have a lot to draw about that. I've got another group Undertale thing that I need to do my contributions for in the meanwhile. And then I also need to make money, so I should do commissions. So, busy, busy, busy. Yeah, what are the backrooms in Equestria? Isn't that basically just like the Everfree Forest? Yeah, I drew her really big, so I'm gonna have to size her down here a bit. Tartarus, yeah, it could probably be Tartarus. Alright, you're getting sized down. So that we have room for backrooms. And again, we'll keep doing that. I hope backrooms ideas comes across okay. It's kind of hard to tell when it's just like, yep, this is a bunch of walls. And like fluorescent lights and stuff. And not much else. Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to remember. The life form is just like, I'm a big tangle of guys. I don't remember what the life form is. It's just a squibble. It's just a weird bunch of cables. Okay. Wow. There, she's lost in the back rooms. He says hi. Okay. That's all I remember. I'm like, what does the life form look like? I think it's just stuff. Okay, I'm glad I was accurate. All things considered. peak design. What if the guy chasing you was a squibble of lines? Would that be fucked up or what? I mean, it would, actually, so they're not wrong. Okay, this I'm going to do my smart objects again, so we'll skip most of that. I know it looks like this isn't being drawn, but it's because I am... Smart objects are basically a thing I'll do in Photoshop where I can make one object and then tweak it slightly, and that'll be a little bit easier than having to redraw everything. It's a weird little guy. The Doodle Monster from SpongeBob. Oh, it only shows up in the one? I thought it showed up in some of the other shorts. Because there's like a whole series for the Backroom shorts. Does the Lifeform only show up in the original one with the guy with the camera that got stuck in there? Think another? Okay. They never quite... I don't know if they ever explain what it is. Except for like a thing. Still lives. That's not the same thing. Alright, yeah, we'll go back and do the stuff on that later. Oh my goodness. Okay. This one I'm going to have to do probably because this is all curves. The black bacteria things never shows up again after its second appearance. Where is it? What is it doing? On the one hand, I can like understand not bringing back the bacteria because it seems like a lot of people took the like, oh, there's a creature in the back rooms. What if there's like a lot of creatures in the back rooms and it's all just like layers of creatures and stuff, and you can like map them out and categorize them like SCPs, and they stop being kind of scary after that. So I can understand it's like, okay, if we're gonna have a creature, maybe it's better to just not explain it. Neko Arc is in the back rooms. Theory: the complex remembers the death of many victims, literally remembered the bacteria of the leftovers. So it's just like people that have died in the back rooms, their bacteria has been remembered as like a guy. The back rooms are like, well, I think this was a guy, so I'm just gonna make a guy. I'm just gonna make a weird little guy. Human. The back room is literally like, humans are too hard to draw. Take my squiggles. I don't know how to draw humans. Don't be mean. Have you ever tried to draw hands? We'll try doing that in real life, and you'll see how hard it is. So this is my OC. This is how I draw them. It's just squiggles. Again, I don't know that much Backrooms lore, but from what I understand, that's kind of the assumption, is that it was like a solar flare thing? Yeah, I don't remember exactly. Last thing here is burn you, and she blasts you with her eye lasers. Gosh darn it, shouldn't have fallen in a hole through reality. I'm trying to, like, see if I can ever explain, like, this kind of horror to, like, I don't know, my parents, because they're extremely not online. So be like, no, the most popular movie is about what if you got lost in, like, a dimension outside of space and time. Wouldn't that be scary or what? And they'd probably be like, what? Okay. No, if there are emotions, then they're just, whatchamacalls from Kingdom Hearts. The guys that Vanitas makes. Why am I blanking on the name? No, they're not nobodies. They're not nobodies. They're the ones that Vanitas makes. Unversed. They're unversed. Unversed are negative emotions. Specifically from Vanitas. Unversed are negative emotions specifically from one guy. And those are like, those aren't the little like white twitchy ones. They're like, they have like red eyes and they schmoove a lot. They have pretty cool designs. If nothing else, Kingdom Hearts has always had like extremely cool enemy designs. I will always give it that. Some kind of oyster. Complex indicator thing for the background is literally putting our hand on cement before it dries. Uh-oh. And you copy and paste it again and again and again. Interesting. Fascinating. Interesting concepts. Interesting horror concepts. It is pretty cool, like, in this age of internet horror, how we've invented, like, new horrors to scare us. Deltarune might actually explore what? Like what specifically? The notion of nostalgia. I mean, it's kind of already exploring that, but I think that it's moved away from, like, the concept of, like, oh, escapism is bad and you need to not, you know, and all that kind of stuff. How story gets interpreted, yes. Basically, I think the message that Deltarune is trying to get across, I think its ultimate, like, thesis is that, hey, fiction is not real, but the impact it has on you is real, and that still matters. And that matters in as much as your real relationships. So, basically, and especially like in a video game, the message then is like, fiction leaves an impact on you, but you also leave an impact on fiction. Like, I do not think the message is get rid of fiction because it's not good for you. I think the message is, actually, fiction is an important part of your life. And that's still worthwhile. Yay, the power of copy-pasting. The antithesis of that theme? Would abuse the idea of fiction. Perhaps so. Perhaps that is what the Weird Root is trying to say. It's so hard to tell right now with how little we know on it. How it's all supposed to shake out. I think a lot of it will depend on, like, how it ends. My thoughts on the Weird Root are that it's right now are that it's going to end in a soft lock, effectively. That you can push the game to its limits, but it is still possible to break the structure of the game itself if you push it too hard. You lost it when you tried to see too far, kind of thing. Like, if there is supposed to be, you know, a final boss battle between Susie and Noelle, for example, that in the normal route would go a certain way, then in the Weird Root, especially if, like, the soul and its power gets transferred to Noelle instead of Susie, and Susie, or Noelle is supposed to be like the final boss that we defeat with the roaring, then what happens if, like, you are playing as the final boss? You've effectively made yourself into an unkillable boss, which means you have soft lock yourself. The game actually can't progress anymore. I think that would be an interesting ending. Uralse is being the antithesis due to him insisting that darkeners don't matter. It does seem to be like that's mostly coming from him. It's definitely a him problem. No ending screen would be awesome. Like, it's not even like a, you know, bad end or anything like that. It's just like you are literally soft locked into the final boss because the final boss cannot be beaten because you are playing as the final boss. It matters that you are playing, that, like, the way that you play a game is that you are playing as protagonist that has to defeat a boss. So if you're in the position of the final boss, you cannot be beaten. The game cannot advance. You're stuck. It never ends. That I think is like an interesting way for the weird route to go. It could go a lot of different ways, but if I was going to pick a way that I think, oh, that's a cool way that this ended up, it would be that you effectively soft lock yourself by playing as the final boss. How would it work on consoles? I mean, I assume it's the kind of thing where you could keep playing over and over again and then, like, it just never advances. I mean, like, consoles also have, like, save states. So you would have to go back to a different save state or route or something like that. How would it be different from consoles to PC? I guess I just don't see how that is. Like, when I say soft lock, I don't mean that you can't play the game anymore. I mean, like, you can't advance the weird route anymore. And that would be the same on both PC and console. In genocide route, you can't do true pacifist. Yeah. Yes, but Undertale only has one save file. Deltarune has multiple save files. So you can go to a save file that, like, doesn't do that, and also, like, on a save file in the console, you can also delete save files. So you would just have to wipe that save file the same way you would any other save file. Also, is it time for my stretch break again? Probably not. I think we can do a little further. Probably not. Like, if you can copy and delete save files on both console and the computer and PC, then that's what you would have to do. Basically, you just can't advance it. Yeah, that's along similar ideas. It's like, if you freeze everything, that's also kind of like a soft lock. Basically, nothing can advance. In the regular route, once you beat a boss, the story keeps going. In the weird route, if you are the boss, that's where the story stops. You can go no further. So hopefully that makes sense. Effectively, like, I think that in the normal route, there is a chapter 7, but I can see a situation where in the weird route, there is no chapter 7. It just stops at chapter 6 because you've locked yourself out of whatever you can do next with Susie and the soul and etc., etc., etc. So I know that kind of goes into, like, that ending the game early thing that a lot of people might not like, but I do think that is the possibility that seems to make the most sense for weird route, is that, like, effectively you've locked yourself out of chapter 7. Which, like, you should have known better. You should have realized you were warned. Don't do it. There, you don't get a Gaster-like text appears. The game keeps going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer Bunny. It keeps going and going and going. I mean, you have to have a game end eventually. Yeah, that's what I mean, is that it resets the game. But say if you're a thing of, like, okay, if you are playing as the final boss and you win, then if the heroes try again, you're still going to win, because you the player, are the element that allows you to progress the game. If you are put in a position where you are the final boss, then you literally can't progress the game anymore because nothing can get past you. Chapter 5, the weird route is locked in. Maybe it is different in the weird route. Yeah, I do think chapter 5 is going to end with Noelle making a fountain, and that'll be our chapter 6 fountain. And then stuff will happen in chapter 6, and basically, if you're doing the weird route on chapter 6, that's where the game ends. You don't get chapter 7. Well, that's like an off kind of ending. Again, it's the same kind of thing where like effectively the story does not advance. Whether it's you're in a boss battle that doesn't end or the world is frozen. Same idea. You have soft lock yourself. If there is no story advance. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like if you have soft lock, then basically all you can do is like reset the game or delete that save file or whatever. Hello, hello. Thank you for coming. I am drawing a bunch of books scattered on the floor. We are doing backgrounds for the next, for not the next Eldritchrune comic, for an ending part, but we're doing some background work. Chubby Fox was inspired by Off. True. Definitely, basically, the endings of Off are either like the ending where everything stops and ends, or the ending where like things keep going but it doesn't matter because no one is there. Neither of them are very nice, but they are interesting. I did like the new. I honestly did like the new music for the Off remake. I mean, obviously nothing matches up to the original soundtrack, but I thought it was a pretty good replacement. So yeah, basically that is my weird root prediction, is that you will soft lock yourself out of seeing Chapter 7, whether that is because everything is frozen and the story cannot advance, or whether because you are playing as the final boss and the story cannot advance. Same result. Same dealy dooey. Because I think Chapter 7 is where things are going to go off the rails. And at some point, I really should make that big Chapter 6, Chapter 7 prediction post that some people in Discord have already seen. Probably needs some refining, plus like illustrations. So I want to draw a big dragon Susie and all that stuff. But so much to do! Alright, hopefully I think I'll draw this instead of doing the smart object for it. What are your thoughts on the Chris Noelle relationship? I think they both want to be friends again. I don't think things went off the rails when the night showed up. I think that was all part of the plan. I think that was intentional. But yeah, the Chris Noelle relationship, I think they want to be friends again. I do not think that a romance between them that excludes Susie really works. Basically, if there is going to be a romantic element between them, Susie has to be involved in some way, because they are both of them are so like focused on Susie. I don't think you could exclude Susie from that. I think Chris is carrying a lot of guilt around Noelle, and that's why they don't want to reach out to her as much, even though she wants to be friends with them again. Yes, new internet, yay, it's fiber, yay, it's not gonna die on me, knock on wood, yay! That was so frustrating last time. But new internet is here! And because it's Pride Month, it's also queer! Yay! So I might need to do my stretch break soon, before we do our last one. Gay internet, the best kind of internet. True. An internet for Suzelles and Krusielles of all kinds. Alright, I think we'll do that one as we'll do that as a smart object. Yeah. Yep. Is a neighbor not a friend? Because I think she is kind of like complicated about it. She doesn't really know what to make of what Chris is doing now. Obviously, I think she wants to, do romance stuff with Susie. So, she's not going to be like, no, there's nothing between me and Chris kind of thing. But at the same time, like, say when you talk to the Addison about, are we friends or are we something else? Noelle is happy to hear Chris give the we're friends response. Where she gets kind of like, haha, what? If you say we're something else. She's like, there's no good way to interpret that. What does that mean? She wants to be friends with Chris again. She feels like they used to be closer. Chris pushed her away over time, and she misses that. So, at the very least, I think they both want to rekindle their friendship. What announcements on comms? Sorry, which announcement specifically? I missed it. Oh, no, I will announce when that happens. It's not going to happen for a while. I'm still working. My contract's not done yet. Because I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know how long it's going to take, what kind of time I'll have for it. I just know it is likely I will have to open commissions in the future, but right now I still have work to do. I'm actually not in the middle, I'm in the starting up a new episode, so I'm really getting into it. But if I have a work hiatus, which is looking likely, then I will open commissions during that time, depending on how long my hiatus is. Because there's a lot of other factors at play, like I've got to worry about, I want to get some Eldritchrune work done. I've got to do work on another Undertale project that I'm a part of, and I've got to, like if Chapter 5 comes out, I'm sure I'm going to, do a bunch of crazy stuff with that. So, yep. Is my job at least going a bit smoother? Yes. Thankfully, it seems like we are out of the dark mire of, having a ton of notes to do. The last meeting I had with my supervisor, they said, yep, this is much more on track with what the director wants, so there should be less notes in the future. So yes, things are smoothing out. Right, just in time for my last episode for this contract. But thankfully, we are not deep in the pits of notes. They're starting to ease up. Since we have the new director, and now that we know from the start what is expected of us, we can deliver that as opposed to having to change a lot on the fly. So, thankfully, we knew it would happen. We knew it would eventually stabilize. It just took a little bit to stabilize. So, hooray! Less notes to do, hooray! I'm the kind of person, like, at my job, I'm like, I don't want notes. I just want to do it right the first time. I want to read your mind. Like, editing is frustrating to me. I just want to do it and then move on to the next thing. And, that's not how it ever works. There's always notes that happens kind of thing. But there's notes where, like, okay, that's a fine change, widen this or, alter this, blah, blah, blah. It's one thing to, like, get regular notes that are not a problem. It's another thing to be like, you have to redraw all the stuff you've already drawn. That is exhausting. And thankfully, we are moving out of redraw everything you've drawn previously and back into regular adjust this, change this kind of notes, which are much more manageable. I do enjoy my job, though. It's the kind of work I really like doing. I like doing the visual planning based on a story idea. Trying to make it all work. That's why what I usually end up doing is comics, because that's just how my brain operates in terms of, like, storytelling. It all shows up visually. Oh, thank you for subscribing. Thank you. Oh my goodness, I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Now I can use emotes. I gotta add new ones to the roster. In the meanwhile, I also need to do the rest of my stretches. I will be right back. I return. Cancel my Amazon Prime subscription. Yeah, I don't have Amazon Prime either. If you're wondering why I always have to get up for stretches at the end, it's because some of the things I do I need to do against a wall, like basically like this. This kind of thing. Pressing against a wall like this, it helps with these muscles. If that makes sense. So I can't do them in front of the computer. Plus a couple of other ones that require me elsewhere. It helps strengthen the shoulders and back a little bit. There's no newsletter for Nintendo Direct on June 9th. There'll be no newsletter in spring. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do about the lack of newsletter. I was really hoping for something in May. And now I'm like, okay. I think at this point we're just gonna have to accept that it'll happen when it happens and all that. I can't get up my hopes anymore for, oh, it's gonna be this day, it's gonna be this day. Just be like, okay, Toby. Please do an announcement soon. My crops are dying. Good grief, I'm struggling. Okay, there we go. Just want a nice clean line there. I don't think it's going to last until winter. Again, I'm kind of hoping that the new chapter will come out in July or August. Like late summer. They're going to sacrifice more birdlies? No! That's not going to help. Depends on if you want a birdly. The Eldritchrune cult's like, gotta sacrifice more children so that we get a newsletter. More depressed teenagers. Surely they will not come back with giant monsters to get us. Exactly. We can't blame Toriel and Asgore anymore. They just wanted a newsletter. Yeah, no, they've said 2026, and they seem like to be sticking with it. So, but I am hoping for July, August. That would be ideal for me for a couple of reasons. Again, like I said, please don't shadow drop it, Toby. I have a job. I have works to do. We can't start doing Deltarune tomorrow until we know Deltarune is tomorrow. Can't do it, otherwise it dilutes the Deltarune tomorrow. Maybe the Nintendo Direct, that's the closest thing I can think of, but if it's not the Nintendo Direct, then don't know. I'm just trying not to get my expectations up. I don't want to be disappointed. I want to be pleasantly surprised. And again, I still think July or August. I'm not pushing this back until like fall. That's true. I guess we were saying Deltarune tomorrow in that time, weren't we? Yeah, if it's not the Nintendo Direct, then it's just gonna be when it happens. I'm sure we'll get a newsletter being like, hey, release date now, kind of thing, but if there's not like a trailer at the Nintendo Direct, I don't know when else they would do one, so that's your last great big chance for fantastic savings and all that. So here's hoping. But I don't want to put all my eggs from the Forgotten Man into this little basket. I'd rather be pleasantly surprised. Mostly because I'm kind of burned out. I was really hoping for something, we would hear something in May, and nothing. So I'm like, okay, it'll happen when it happens. I'm sure it's on its way. Wrong. 7 cozy farming games in a row. Oh no. I know mostly I wanted to know when it comes out so I could plan what game to do until it came out. I've been putting it off. Putting off a new game until we knew. And we still don't know. What I'll probably end up doing is, if we don't hear anything this week from the Nintendo Direct, I will just do a little, I'll roll a die and find out what it is based on my options, because I still have a lot of options. I'll put Portal 2 on the options list, but it may or may not get picked. I've had people be like, no, play the Outer Wilds DLC, play Myst, play, you know, etc., etc. So there's a lot of options. Yes, I was in the Andrew Cunningham stream yesterday. I actually saw my comment read. Yay! I thought I missed it. I thought it might have happened in the first session, which I did miss. I was too busy that day. But I'm glad I caught it here, and I was like, yay! I stayed up and I got my comment. Yay! And also, just it's fun to listen to. I've heard good things about Echoes of the Eye. I'll have to get used to playing Outer Wilds again. That always took so much adjustment. You saw me crashing that ship everywhere. Not a good Outer Wilds run without me smashing the ship into the side of a planet. What was my comment on Andrew Cunningham's stream? I mean, it wasn't super long or, like, involved. I was mostly just being like, hey, this was really cool. Your editing was great. I agree with you about the soul is the light of hope thing. And I thought about that I mean, you can probably search my name on the comment section and find it eventually. Like, but the whole idea that, like, darkness equals water equals ink equals creating fiction. I've had that idea for years. Like, that's been in my head for a while. That was literally, like, my reasoning behind why I thought Gerson was originally the knight, and why I was happy with what we got in canon, because it was still discussing that idea of, like, what is the relationship of a fiction writer to these fictional worlds. And the connections I made were like, oh, darkness, water, ink. Ink is used to create fiction, the well of imagination kind of thing. So those were ideas I've had for a long time. So seeing them briefly brought up in Andrew's video, I was like, yes, I'm on board. And also I'm on board for the soul itself represents the white pin of hope, for a couple of reasons. I think that's also correct. So that was the gist of my comment. It was like, great video. I agree with you on these points. What wasn't a super long involved comment, because I thought it was a great video. But I don't know if you saw one of my Outer Wilds landings. At one point, I was trying to take off from Timber Hearth, and I just crashed into a tree and could not get back out again. I had to literally, like, kill myself or something because I was stuck in the tree, and I could not, like, eject from my seat or anything. Just soft locked myself with a terrible crash. Didn't even get off the planet. It was really bad. It was very funny, though. No, I didn't spend because that wasn't in the video. You saw him complaining about, why are you talking about this? This wasn't in the video. It was half human Susie, not relevant to what was being discussed. Basic courtesies, if you're going to make a comment on a video, you should probably at least talk about what the video talks about, right? I ain't that stupid, hopefully. It wasn't. The one thing that was really extremely funny is, like, a ring could be a ring, which could also be a ring. Like, I'm gonna think about that forever. A ring is a ring, but it is also a ring. Is it now? I actually do not think I can shoehorn half human Susie into the topics being discussed. At the very most, the biggest stretch would be like, okay, I do think Susie is going to get the white pin of hope at some point. I think that is the soul. I think she's going to get the soul at some point. Maybe her being half human is relevant to that, but, like, maybe not. So, I think it would be a really honkin' big stretch. And Susie being half human, not the only thing I'm concerned about with the game. There's a lot of aspects of the game that I care about. True, many of them are centered around Susie, but not all of them. Blood is like water and Susie bleeds. Perfect logic. What are your thoughts on the April Fool's theory that half Chaos break the monster being Ice-E that Chris Pranks was in disguise to help Noelle? I didn't see that. The last half-bred Chaos theory I saw was the one that Ram was E-Ram, which I ended up agreeing with, shockingly. Like, I was really skeptical about that idea going in, but by the time I finished the video, I was like, oh, I think that makes sense. Wow. I was convinced. Like, that does not happen very often. So I'd have to give it credit for that. It was pretty unusual. Is my PR person hyping up Half Human Susie for me? I don't want to go too far in on it, because what if it's wrong? I don't want to be disappointed. I don't want to disappoint myself. I want to celebrate if it's right, but if it's wrong, I don't want to, I don't want to be like, the story's ruined. Oh no, we didn't do what I wanted. You know, I don't want to be a little snip like that. I want to have fun with the game. Deltarune's so full of rings, it's easy to choose a wrong ring. Every time you ring, you get the wrong number. It's the wrong number song. We're very, very sorry that we got it wrong. Yeah, that's my take. Is like, if I'm right, I'm going to you know, throw a wild party about it, because what a hell of a thing to be correct about. But if I'm wrong, then it's like, right, I'm wrong. Then you just gotta take the L and move on with life. Either way, I don't want to ruin the game for myself. I want to have fun with the game, no matter what. And I think that is what's going to happen. Again, I'm actually not that worried about future chapters based on what we've gotten so far. I have made like a lot of guesses about it. That's how I have fun. I like theorizing through fan fiction. I'm still doing it now. Like, again, that chapter 6 and 7 post I want to make. But in all cases, like, as we have gotten new information and I have been proven wrong on things, I have never been unhappy with what we've gotten. I've always been like, I've enjoyed the game more and more as it's come out. So even when I'm wrong, I have not been disappointed. It will throw the community into chaos, and I will admittedly laugh about that and be like, I told you so, somehow, through completely insane means that I could not begin to describe to you. I told you so. But if it's wrong, then it's wrong, and I just have to deal with it. And you gotta move on with life. Unless it's written like Kingdom Hearts 3. I have a little bit more faith in Toby than I do in Nomura. I'll be totally honest. I do. I think Toby understands what he wants a little bit better than Nomura does. It's not impossible. That is a One Fear shirt I could be wearing. But I'm less worried about that. Yeah, exactly. Don't let me be like Jaru. Don't let me double down. If I'm proven wrong, do not let me double down. But maybe in this situation, if I make up some bullshit, it'll be right. Like, don't let me do that. It would suck. I don't even know what happened with the Universal YouTuber mother. Everybody just said they suddenly hated the game, and I'm like, okay, why? But again, I have not been disappointed. Even when I have been wrong, I have not been disappointed. I have always enjoyed what we've gotten. And I was a little bit more anxious about chapters 3 and 4 than I am chapter 5. I'm less anxious now. I'm more excited for what we're going to get. No worries. Ooh, RP is always fun. I miss doing RP. Miss my jam jars. But I don't have time. I've got projects like this one I'm working on. Yeah, that's my One Fear shirt. Trying to always, like, keep things in perspective. You know. Always remember that, like, because I feel like there's this kind of, like, entitlement a lot of fandoms have, where if, like, the story doesn't go how they're expecting, then, like, that's the artist's fault for not doing it the way I expected. And I'm like, no, you can't do that way. No. So I do not want to fall into that trap. Can't fall into that trap. I don't know, maybe I do need PR. And I mean, I don't really talk about the theory that... I think people associate the theory with me a lot, but I don't really talk about it that much unless I'm asked about it, because I don't know if I have much new to add to it aside from, well, we'll see if it's right or not. I can certainly go on a blood lore rant about how I think that the theory does a better job of answering questions about blood than the other option. Because either way you look at it, like, whatever your options are in terms of why is Susie bleeding, both options raise questions. And I'm not counting like, oh, it's church juice, because that's stupid. It's just stupid and wrong. It's not church juice. It's not determination. It's blood. So the options for the options for Susie bleeding are either A, all monsters bleed and that's not special for Susie, or B, monsters don't bleed and Susie is special. Both of those raise questions, just a matter of which questions are answered and which are not. Church juice is so stupid, I'm sorry. Have you seen Reba's recent video about Alfies? I have not. Maybe that crossed my path on my YouTube recommended, but I didn't click on it. I didn't clicky. Oh, I should probably do that too, because it's also at an angle. Okay, we're not gonna do that. Them swords! The evil Chris be like, church juice is the bane of my experience. God awful sermon, my man. That's what evil Chris says. Chris, please stop throwing around the sick juice, the church juice. Chris, please. Ah, church flavor. Angel awful. Yeah, I don't understand it. I'm sorry. Church juice sucks. It sucks so bad. What if we took this really important, poignant moment that was like an incredible turning point for the plot and made it stupid? Why do you want that in a narrative? Church juice being allegories for blood and magic is low-key crazy. Oh, okay. As in, like, the red juice and the yellow juice are blood and magic. I see what you mean. I'm like, maybe it's a reference to, like, actual stuff in church, but at the same time, I'm like, we didn't really, like, when I was going to church, maybe this was a thing in other places, but we didn't really have, like, here's 2 different flavors of juice and you can mix them together. You just had, like, a Kool-Aid for the kids and coffee for the adults and water, tea. I don't recall any, like, mixable church juices. Was that a thing in other churches and I just don't know? Like, could you mix church juices? If in a video about if Alfie was a man, that she wouldn't get a lot of hate and explore the female characters getting hatred. Well, the male characters get a free pass. That I do agree with. I think that's true. Definitely true in Undertale. True across fandoms in general. Yeah, well, basically, when Alfie's asks Chris to make her church juice, they end up making Alfie's color because it's like 3 parts yellow and 1 part red. So it's her palette color, which is cute. Mixing thing is from Chris and Susie's machinations. Yeah, but also, like, Alfie's asked, can I have, like, my special church juice mix? Which means that, like, other people were mixing their church juices together. I'm just like, do other people do that in real life? I was stopping me from mixing the Kool-Aid with the coffee, because I don't like coffee. God himself came down and is like, no. Just puts a hand on my face. No, you're not mixing the Kool-Aid and the coffee. Stop. That's a sin, my child. She is a nerd, but, like, do other people do it? I'm talking about, is mixing, like, different flavors of Kool-Aid a thing people do in real life? At church, specifically. Because I've never seen that in churches I've gone to. I'm like, I'm assuming that, like, Toby is drawing from some, like, real-life experience. because I know he's gone to church, or at least grew up going to church. So I'm like, did that happen in Toby's church? Did like they pull out different kinds of Kool-Aid and you could just like mix and match them? And I just wasn't aware because my church never did that. That's what I'm curious about. Palms me like a basketball true. Because, like, churches are very regional. Sometimes they do weird things that, like, others don't. Oh, yeah, if you have ADHD, it doesn't do anything to you. I'm caffeine sensitive. If I have too much caffeine, I feel really bad. I don't even drink it in the morning. I drink, like, hot chocolate. Get my sugars. It would just mix... Yeah, but that's random sodas from the soda machines. I'm talking about, like, if you're at church and you have, like, a drink mix, like Kool-Aid that's been set out, you know, as post-church snacks. Is it a thing in churches for you to take, like, different flavors of the Kool-Aid and mix them together? Because I never experienced that at my church. Alright, thanks so much for coming. I probably got about 15 minutes left and then I gotta eat my lunch. Maybe I'll read that Courier New fic while I'm eating my lunch. Finally read a Courier New fic. A 100% red church juice is the blood of power. Noticing. What was the 100% yellow? I know they all got, like, cute names. I don't remember all the cute names for the drink mixes. Like what's 100% yellow? What's 100% red? Also, what flavor is yellow? Is it, like, because lemon is not really a Kool-Aid flavor. Like an orange one, maybe? Mystic Nectar is 100% yellow. Okay. Interesting. Fascinating. I know one is called, like, Tequila Sunrise or something. A little, some kind of a Disco Elysium going on in here. Meanwhile, Susie's just like, I'm drinking all the red juice. Oh, nom, nom. 25 red is Sunset Requiem. Oh no, oh no, that's scary, oh no. 50-50 is orange juice, that's logical. The one Alfie's is called Dragon Scar. Well, no, Alfie's is 75% yellow and 25% red. So, if 25% red is Sunset Requiem, then that would be the one Alfie's had. But if 75% red is Dragon Scar, then interesting. Fascinating. Church juice theory. the church juice is secretly about mixing monster and human blood and magic. The signs were there all along. Oh, swap the 25% ones? Okay, yeah, no, Alfie's drink is 75 yellow, 25 red. Susie's blood is 75% red, exactly. I think it's just normal red, but, wouldn't be able to tell. Yeah, Alfie's drink is mostly yellow because it's matching her color palette. What other combinations can we get if we get into, like, smaller percentages? I think the worst thing is that, like, you can make her church juice and then just drink it in front of her. Why are we doing that? Okay, this is the same. Wait, hold on a second. Oh, but. Did I switch these around? Oh my goodness, I'm a dummy. Okay. I'm like, what? I just drew these all on the same page, and I'm like, wait, why are these copied this way? It's because I was drawing on the wrong panel. I'm so stupid! Ugh. The hydration. Chris throws it down on their own. Chris, what are you doing with Alfie's? What is your beef with Alfie's? I mean, I know Alfie's is not a great teacher, but what is your beef?
Saga friend having purple blood because she's half mystic. Mystic blood is blue. Fascinating. We're getting a little homestucky there, though. No, you drank. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do that. Poor Alphys. She's like, okay, I guess I'll just do that then. I hecked up. Alright. Well, we're just gonna have to copy paste this stuff then. Dump it on the ground for thematic parallels. I threw it on the ground! I don't want to be a part of your prophecy! Do I look like some kind of cage to you? I threw it on the ground! I don't know what I'm talking about now. Oh, shoot. Oh, I did this all in the... This is weird. Alright, we'll do our best. I can't believe I was so hyped up talking about stuff that I failed to notice what I was even drawing. Okay, try that again. You gotta remember this one has particular enlarging things. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean. I'm actually wondering, or like a boss, like in the late afternoon. What I'm actually wondering is if, because like Alphys has to play some part in this. I feel like Alphys has been shockingly on the sidelines a bit, and if it is true that, you know, basically events were engineered in order to make sure that Susie became the girl in the prophecy instead of Noelle. And again, the only thing you need to do that is to make sure that they go to the closet together. Then, I think it's extremely possible that the mayor talked to Alphys before class and was like, hey, if Susie shows up late, make sure that Susie and Chris are the ones that go to the closet together. And, because Noelle started to speak up and she's like, oh, I could go with Susie to the closet. And Alphys interrupts her. And it's like, Chris, you go with Susie. That'll be fine. And then they go together. And then they become the prophecy heroes. So, I could see that kind of situation wherein that is how Alphys gets into it. That's how she was roped in. Is she was basically the setup for them going on their first adventure together. Not actually a part of the prophecy, or the conspiracy, but a pawn in it. Because I do think Alphys needs to get involved somehow. She's kind of suspiciously been on the edges of all this stuff so far. And I'm like, where are you... Like, she's the teacher, you know? She's teaching these kids. She clearly has something going on with, like, Asgore and all that stuff, too. Maybe with Sans, I don't know. But, that's my guess, is that the mayor specifically said, hey, I'm going to set up events so that Susie is definitely the one in the prophecy. I don't think Alphys secretly invented it, but I think she was a pawn in the mayor's plan. And we'll see some more of her. That's exactly what she wants you to think. Hey Chris, did you check out my anime reviews? No. Problem is, Alphys does need to be a better teacher. She's not a very good teacher. She's clearly a nerd and she just wants to do cool nerdy things. Please give her a job where she can just be a nerd about things. Because teaching is a whole nother skill set. You can't just be a nerd about things. It's hard. I'm going to get you into some anime. Chris, no! Yeah, Chris does not like anime. If you were going to get Chris into anime, which anime would you choose? Just like Papyrus. Perhaps there's a link there. Bum, 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 bum. Wait, does Papyrus not like anime? Maybe he doesn't. Where is it? Show me the anime. Yeah, Cowboy Bebop seems like a pretty standard get people into anime one. Although I haven't seen Cowboy Bebop. Chris does not want to be affiliated with nerdy stuff publicly. Too bad, Chris. We know you got some nerd in you there. Chris, you will watch Madoka with me. Chris, no, stop. Player, stop. It's like, damn it, I'm being controlled by an anime nerd. No. The sound a baby makes. That's what they bond over. They don't like anime. These nerds. Okay, I think this one I can use my my smart objects. Full Metal Alchemist. Alright, the Sans versus. That's right. Versus Sans. Oh no! Unfortunately, this got auto-modded. I don't think I'm going to let that one through. Sorry. Because also, they're not a boy. They're a them. Sorry. You got auto-modded. Even if it is a little bit funny, but I'm going to leave that one. Sorry. I'm gonna deny it. I think Albies would be into Minesweeper. Then again, I have a lot of thoughts of Minesweeper thanks to Frick Bear 3. Can you really be into Minesweeper? Isn't Minesweeper just kind of one of those things that, like, you play a bunch and then you're done? There's not, like, Minesweeper is not a game with that much depth. For Pride Month. Apparently in Balatro, you can't play it straight for all of Pride Month. Which is so funny. It happens. It happens. Okay. I'm gonna do. This will be our last panel for the day. Now we got through about 3 pages. Pretty decent. We're getting through it. I think we're almost done with the backgrounds on this part. Newsletter. Save us. Save us. No, we're real. Save us. Ooh, Spyro. I still haven't... You know what? I haven't played any Spyro games. I should sometime. All those new ones that came out that, like, Nicholas Cole worked on, the art for them. Maybe, like, the remasters or whatever. Yeah. Was that at Summer Games Fest or something? I didn't pay attention to Summer Games Fest. Yeah, it was just the remaster. That's what I want to play is the remaster version. Pulls out a J. Persona 6's logo was boring. Uh-oh. It was some Xbox showcase thing. Okay. Wasn't Spyro a PlayStation thing? Did Spyro move to the Xbox? Or are we talking about Persona? Which I also thought was PlayStation. I don't know what stuff's on. Oh yeah, that's all I heard is that there was a new Cuphead that was in the works, which is cool. 5 third-person horror shooters. Cuphead's cool. I don't really care about the shooters. It's going to be multi-platform. Okay, that makes sense. That's logic. Spyro Microsoft. Okay. I was not aware. The joys of licensing and who owns what. Ugh. Shane's hand a couple of times. Not shocked. There are no console mascots. Goodbye. Instead of mascot horror, we need console mascot horror. I'm sure somebody's on that, right? Probably. We need a Steam Deck mascot. I don't know. The problem is trying to come up with a mascot, a console mascot on purpose usually just doesn't end up great. Nintendo's like we have our own console mascots. Do you think any chance of Deltarune ever going to Xbox? Unlikely. Like, it took forever for Undertale to get to Xbox. And, I think Toby's just weighing the costs. It's like, I don't think it's worth it. Maybe once the game is actually completely finished, it'll go to Xbox. But, I'm not counting on it. Maybe when it's finished. Yeah, it's low priority. I'm not sure what working with Xbox is like in terms of like as a console, but yeah. I mean, Xbox might not exist anymore. Oh boy. Good job, Microsoft. Criminy. People that are into the Halo franchise, oh, I feel bad for them. Was treated so badly. I had a friend that was really big into like the Destiny series, and Destiny 2 just getting canceled like mid-story was devastating. New Cuphead game isn't only 8-bit themed, it's a fully working Sega Master System ROM, getting released on both Steam and as a physical. Oh wow, that's extensive. If I recall, Xbox One Undertale was surprisingly tricky to program for, at least to crack open. The code even has a congrats. Oh my goodness. Interesting. Fascinating. Microsoft, don't fuck up everything you own challenge impossible. True. Ugh. Days where I'm like, oh, I should move to Linux. But that's hard. I don't have time to move to Linux. I guess I need to like slowly ease myself into it. The problem is like once you're involved in like, you know, an operating system or an email or a program or something, you build up so much inertia involved that like switching to a new thing feels really difficult, especially as you get older. It sucks. Yeah, I have 11. Basically my computer came packaged with 11. The person who built it gave it 11. So I've kind of always been dealing with it. And I'm like, okay. It's dealable, although I usually put off updates for as long as I can because I don't trust them. Yeah, it's just moving everything onto a new system, knowing what the layout is, you know, how the OS works, etc., etc. It's practically its own job in of itself. It's exhausting, and the problem is nobody's like, you know, compensating you for the work that goes into learning and understanding and mastering a new system. Maybe someday when I have more time I'll take a look at Linux, but for now it's Windows 11 for me, I guess. I was using a Mac for the longest time. I mostly use Macs like most of my life, and most of my family still uses Macs. But I switched to PC again because I wanted a computer that like I could repair easier. Because usually if your Mac goes down, you have to take it to an Apple station and repair it, and it's a whole problem. I mean, that's still a problem with like my phone. But with a PC, it's like, okay, I can just swap in the part I need. Which has ended up not working out either because now parts are insanely expensive. Like a down payment on a car for a stick of RAM. Good grief. So I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to hope my parts last as long as possible. Hope I don't have to get some RAM anytime soon or a, you know, graphics card. Probably not the best thing to end off on. But I think it is time for me to stop. I'm going to mark off all the panels I've done so I know how far I am. Let's see. I got like almost 2 pages left to do on this part. Pretty cool. Yeah, that's a spooky part. I don't want my motherboard to die on me or anything. Woo! But so far my computer is humming along, and it's not nearly as noisy as it used to be. I did have that problem with the RAM sticks some years ago, but since I got the RAM sticks replaced, no more of those noises and also blue screens of death all the time. Knock on wood, and hey, this time we finished a whole stream and my internet didn't explode. Hooray! I'm throwing a party! I went to all the trouble of getting fiber, and now the fiber's installed and my internet should be good. My upload speed should be a lot better than it was previously, so I don't know if you guys noticed the difference on your end compared to the last streams. If like the stuff worked a little better or not, but supposedly we did a speed test and my upload speed is significantly faster than it was with my previous internet. So hopefully that made things nice on your end at least, because It is nicer for me. Had a fabulous time. Hooray! I know. I'm scared of the lore pit. I'm scared. I know you keep pestering me. Maybe when I'm on hiatus. Maybe when I'm on hiatus and I have more time. Again, I'm not sure when hiatus will start, how long it will go. And I'm sure I'll be busy during a hiatus too. Maybe that probably would be after chapter 5. So if my crack theory, half human Susie theory becomes true in chapter 5, then it might be scary to jump into a lore pit anyway and be like, you, and then everyone piles me and strangles me to death over the internet. That's not logical. I don't understand it. And accept you with open arms as long as you agree with everything you say. Oh, that's just how it works in real life too, I guess. Surely there will be no problems and no arguments whatsoever. And this is Andrew Cunningham's Discord server. Because I do watch Andrew Cunningham's streams when I can and videos because they're very good. And apparently it's a pretty hoppin' Discord server with many arguments about Deltarune theories and stuff like that, for better or worse. Again, like I said in that theory ranking video, I'm like, that's my weak spot. I don't want to disappoint myself. Let's be as nice as we can. But we'll see. We'll see. Again, maybe I can do it during the hiatus and I have some time to actually poke around. Maybe after chapter 5. I don't know. Sorry I keep putting that off. But I know I should at some point. Maybe I will. I don't mind being pestered about it. I'll just do it when I do it. I'll do it when I do it, when I'm ready. For now, though, I still have so much to do. I've got to finish Anthrofractal update today. I've got to do my Patreon sketches. I said I would read that fan fiction that was sent to me. And I gotta play with my lizard and give her a bug to eat and stuff like that. And maybe walk if there's no more rain right now. Anyways, thank you guys so much for coming to the stream and hanging out with me. And hopefully we'll have some announcement this week. If not, I will pick some game to start on Friday and we'll find out what it is. In the meanwhile, hope the rest of your day goes really well. Thank you so much for being here and for all the requests we got today for the doodle page. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Alright, see you later.